Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. It is Saturday, March 16th, 2024. This month is flying right by, and we're back. I missed you all so very much. Gotta love the weather, right? Guys, today we're looking at catching up on, of course, Madeline Soto, Sebastian Rogers, and so much more. Throw it at me, folks. Let's talk about it. Let's catch up and get everything back up to where it should be. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as I always say, let's get this show on the road. Here we go. Here we go. Boom. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Great to see ya. And so great to be here with you guys. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday, great weekend, great start to your weekend, whatever you want to call it. I hope it's great. It's great to be here with you guys. And I missed you all yesterday. Again, wonderful weather we've been having. Thank God we made it through the tornado side of things, but it knocked out my weather for a little while, or my internet knocked out my weather. Yeah, that was a good one. Good job there, bro. The weather knocked out my internet yesterday, of course, because you can sneeze or fart and my internet's out, and that's just how it works. So it is what it is. So that's why I wasn't around yesterday. And here I am today. I hope y'all missed me as much as I missed you, because I did. I was going crazy yesterday. So it is time to catch up on everything, guys, because I'm out of the loop. I don't know what you guys know, what you don't know, but we're going to figure it all out together because that's the best way to do it and the most fun. So it is, of course, Madeline Soto, Sebastian Rogers, and so much more we're going to talk about, and we're going to get everything up to date and on track. So thank you for joining me for that today. Appreciate you very much. Please hit that like button on your way in the door. Leave me a little bit of DNA, if you will. I appreciate that. We got 48 awesome peeps in here with 32 likes. Come on now, guys. Let's make it match. Please, so we can get this in that algorithm and get things rolling. I appreciate that very much, if you will. Very much. How are we doing today? Let's see who we got here with us today to start with. Looks like Doodlebug Fart. My doodle's in the house. Good to see you, dear. Thank you for joining me. As always, Angel of Virtue. Welcome back to you. Miss Kara Willis. Wonderful to see you from all the way from over the pond. Great to have you here. As well as Miss Pamela Polly Pepper, another one from over the pond. Great to have you both here today. Appreciate you very much. Of course, the lovely Miss Carolyn Miller in the house. Thank you for joining us. Ashley 421. Hey, hey. Great to see you. Great to have you here. My brother Mikey's in the house. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Sunshine, welcome back. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Virginia Duncan, always a pleasure to see you. Miss Josie West is in the house. Thank you for joining us. Great to have you here. T2014, always a pleasure. Good to see you. Good to have you here. NFT, what's going on with you? Good to see you today. The Karma Police are in the house, guys. Please behave. Please be good. No problems in here. Let me see here. Miss Kells, there she is. There you are. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Always happy to see you. Let's see. Albariqua, welcome back to you. Great to see you today. Thank you for joining us. The Archer and the Empress Tarot, welcome back to you. Great to see you. Thomas Geroz, good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Always a pleasure. No idea, Miss Virginia. Let's see here. Lutinus. I think I'm saying that right. Lutinus, welcome. Good to see you. Sorceress, welcome back to you. Great to see you. Sandra Stevens, thank you for joining us today. Great to see you. Have you here? Sorry. SRB is in the house and out of the house and in the house and whatever, SRB. It's good to see you. Hope you're feeling better. Great to have you here. Holly, welcome back to you as well. Let's see here. Come on down, everybody. Cindy Curve, welcome. Good to see you. I hope Al is doing well. Good to see you all in here. Margaret Betty, welcome back to you. Hold your tongue and say that. I will not. I will not, sir. You laugh at me enough. I ain't giving you another reason. Good morning, Miss Noel. Thank you for joining us today. Great to have you here. Miss Bonnie, always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. In treatment, but supporting you, and I'm supporting you as well, Miss Bonnie. I hope it all goes well and you feel well afterwards, dear. Lisa Vallejo, welcome back to you. Great to see you. Teresa, thank you for joining us today. Davy Jones, Laka in the house. What's up, Davy? Thank you for joining us. Tina B, good to see you today as well. Again, guys, thank you for joining me. Always happy to have you guys here, guys. Miss Brandy B, I was getting there, Brandy. Good Lord, the patience. The patience. She don't like me anymore, folks. This one here, staying fine. Just ignore me. Why don't you? I seen you. I was getting there. The words weren't even out of my mouth at that moment. You didn't let me, but she don't like me no more. She's mean to me. She didn't used to be so mean to me, but she is lately. It's okay. I still love you either way, Brandy. It's all good. You can be as mean as you want. Neil Homestead, welcome back to you. Good to see you. Of course, Brandy is always here no matter what goes on, guys. Just so you understand, we're just teasing back and forth either way. Locked out of your account for 6 months. What is up with that, Thomas? That's crazy. 6 months? Good Lord. That's insane. Well, I'm glad you got it all worked out, and it's great to see you here. We appreciate you very much. Again, Neil, good to see you again. Jessica D's in the house. Welcome back, Jessica. Good to see you. Kim O, what is going on? A good afternoon to you. Let's see. Yes. I can agree on that one, Thomas. They have their days. They really definitely do. Pammy B's in the house. What's going on, Pammy? Good to see you today. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Good afternoon, Miss Victoria. Good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure. Come on in and find a seat. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend to start with. I hope you're all getting some sunshine. because the past few days ain't been nothing but crap, folks. I thought I wasn't gonna make it. For the first time in my life, I saw purple lightning, folks. I've never seen purple lightning in my life ever. I was a little scared, just a little bit scared. But we made it through. I flipped on the news because I was getting calls from all of you guys from different areas, and this person, that person, and the top half of Ohio got hit pretty hard. Unfortunately, they're going through some stuff right now, guys. So please, if you can, if you're a praying person, say some extra prayers for all those people that got hit anywhere in the states, guys. And keep them in your thoughts, them and their families, because they're going through it right now. A lot of people got a lot of damage, and it's just not cool. Um, so let's say some prayers and keep them in our thoughts that everybody gets through this and comes out of this on the other end ahead, folks. That's all we can say and all we can hope for. But I was a little nervous, guys. It was rough. It was rough that night. I swear it was going to bounce right over us, and then the ground started rumbling, and I'm like, "Oh shit, here we go." I saw purple lightning, and I was like, "Okay, what's going on out here, guys?" I thought it was like end days and stuff like that, and everybody's messaging me, and we're messaging back and forth, checking on each other, and so on and so forth. Mama Bear and Doodlebug, SRB, and Cassie, and everybody. We were checking on each other. But everybody's good. That's all that matters. We all made it through, but my internet didn't. Like I said, you can fart and my internet goes out. So hold the butt cheeks together, folks, because I don't need my internet going out, please. More Eagles in the house. What's up? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Sunshine. Oh, I did see you. Thank you with the prayers. I appreciate that very much. You don't have Discord anymore. Well, that's not good. You did not drive me crazy. I appreciated every bit of that. Purple Rain. I saw Purple Rain too once, Mikey. Once. Goofy. Mikey's crazy. This is why we're friends. Miss Tracy Hinton, good to see you. Yeah, it was crazy out there, guys. It was strange. Definitely strange out there. I was seeing things and I just had a weird feeling about a lot of it, folks. And thank the Lord, everybody made it out okay. It is beautiful out today. It's sunny, it's warm, it's nice, very nice outside as compared to. Where is Molly at? Somebody go get her. I hope she's not sleeping still. Let me see if I can find her real quick. Real quick, yeah. All right, let's see if she gets that. Ryan, oh, thank you, 2014. I appreciate that very much. Welcome, Miss Tammy. Good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. 89 with 57 likes. Come on now, guys. Let's do something different here with this. Just hit that button as soon as you come through the door. It doesn't cost 1 penny. And it would make things so much easier in here. Oh, no worries, Bonnie. Take your time. You don't have to say a word. I know you're in here. That's all that matters. And I appreciate that very much. Sorcerer, it's good to see you. Yes, like Doodle says, at least pretend like you like me, even if you don't. You don't have to. That's okay. I still love you. But pretend like you do, at least for a little while here, so you can hit that button. Yes, we know you're here, Bonnie. I know exactly. Even if you weren't, I know where your heart is, and that's all that matters. I'm telling you, that's all that matters. Let's see. Where is that? Where is that? Oh, Miss Bonnie. Thank you so very much. Gifted a membership. That went out to Miss Pamela. Congrats, Miss Pamela. Welcome back to the sauce. You are once again a meatball. That's so very awesome. And you can help join the rest of us meatballs as we spill some sauce today. Hey, hey. Yeah, guys, just pretend like you like me. Hit that button and make sure you hit that bell as well. That way you don't miss anything that we ever put out, guys. Please, if you will. Thank you so very much, War Eagle. And if you have not yet, try clicking that subscribe button as well. Please, if you can. And that way you can hang with us on a regular basis because we got plenty of room. Plenty of room. Took Tano to the dog park for a while. It's warm and sunny. It's kind of warm here. It's a little chilly, but it's sunny. That kills it all. Makes it all worth it. Miss Kim Marin's in the house. Good to see you. Thank you for being here with us. Just shopping and checking in. Are you okay? Yes, I am good. I'm here. Internet's working. We're good to go, and I'm back. Nah, I know, Mark and Betty. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. Well, at least some of you do. I know some of you do for sure. That's a fact. Miss Pamela's a member again. That's so awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Victoria. I appreciate that. It's very sweet of you. Very sweet. As I love each and every one of you and appreciate you so very much. So very much. Welcome, Julia. Julia's saying hello to Sego, whoever he is, the mods in the chat. Appreciate it. I'm just teasing, Julia. I know who it meant. Okay. Um, I love it. I love it. I love it. 102 people watching now, guys, with 73 likes. Come on now, please. Just pretend. No problem, Kim. No problem. Enjoy your shopping. Enjoy your day. You don't have to be in here. Appreciate you stopping in, though. At least hit the like button, if you will. Share it out, everybody, if you can. I think anybody that might want to jump in and have this conversation with us, it's going to be opened up to an open discussion as well. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different things, guys. We're going to do the updates on Sebastian and Madeline's case, of course. And then we're going to throw out a bunch of other stuff and catch up with the true crime world because I think I'm behind and I don't like being behind at all. At all. Like. That's right. Thank you so very much. Oh, it's okay, Julie. Don't worry about it. I was just having some fun. Daniel Howard tried to escape his trial. Really interesting. How about that? Any Riley updates? We're going to be checking on that as well, Bariqua. Promise you, we're catching up on everything. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. You do know what that means there, Miss Carolyn. You do know. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Let me set this up real quick, and because yeah, guy, I know you guys know what this means. Hold on. One moment, please. 67 years young. That's so very awesome. I'm glad you had an awesome birthday, Carolyn. Let's add just a little something to it real quick if we can. This is just for you. Oh, no, wait a minute here. Let me see. Let me see. Greatly appreciate that. I still haven't cleaned out the mail, guys. I know it's still it's still there. It's going down this weekend, though. I can promise you that much. Um, Now I don't have any good videos of me. Um, I have this one video I think I've showed you guys. Some of you guys. Let me see if it pops up here. It's a very bad video in a very shitty place. And we were all way not doing well with alcohol at that point. That's the only video I have left in here. Of me. I'll show you real quick so you can all laugh at me. And then we'll move on with our show for today. There you go. I'm on the drums, of course.
All right, we're gonna do the original next. This is the one I wrote.
Gray, what's up, girl? Good to see ya. I agree, New York. Thank you, LA. No, I play backwards, Neil. Completely backwards. If you watch when I'm playing the ride cymbal, it's way backwards. I've always played backwards. I don't know why. I just do. We were pretty intoxicated, folks, so this is horrible. I'm just telling you. Yes, Davey, I have. Loving did this. Welcome, party of 5. Good to see you, Tammy Polly. Welcome. That means you got rhythm in your heart, LA. Welcome, Jen. Thank you for joining us. All right, Mama San, congrats and welcome to the source. Great to have you here. I don't honestly know how I was still sitting up straight, you guys. I was really bent that night. Y'all were. We were playing for a musician friend of ours that had passed away, and we were out, way out of it. Hey, Tom boy, good to see you tonight. Today, sorry.
Thank you.
There you go, folks. That's the only other video I have. Besides, we have another one from that night where our bass player decided, because of the guy that passed away was a huge Jimi Hendrix fan. I mean, we all were, but he did a lot of Jimi Hendrix tribute stuff. So this guy, the bass player, decided he was going to sing uh, the Rainbow Bridge song because Dave had passed over the Rainbow Bridge. And again, we were just so intoxicated, folks. It was so bad. So I'm sorry that that's what you saw, but that was what I have. LA, yes, I have heard of that. Yes, very good stuff. The drummer is very good, very good. Thank you, Tammy. Let's see. I do too, Bonnie. Ooh, they just flow through me. Could come play at. You could come to Cavern Club. Okay, okay. It's been a minute. I'm actually working on trying to put together, getting a new kit. I'm moving into the digital stuff because I can't play like that anymore because of my neck and my back. So I need something that's easier on the shock, But yeah, and I could set triggers and just hit a couple things and play along with it. But no, I'm definitely not. I'm a right-handed person, but I play backwards. It's very weird, very strange. So anyway, there you go. Um, Happy birthday, Miss Carolyn. You get me embarrassing myself for your birthday and your little birthday song and cake there. I hope you had a wonderful birthday and have a wonderful weekend, Carolyn, honestly. And welcome everybody that's jumped in, all the people that are out there just watching, not in chat. I appreciate you very much. And I know you're all here not to see me play the drums, to talk about true crime. So that's what we're doing. Yes, there's a lot of it. I'll tell you right now, being a drummer, my body's tore up. My knees, my neck, my back. I hurt myself, but it made it worse. Okay, so it made it hard to play on an acoustic drum set because the shock that comes back off them sticks when you're hitting, it doesn't help. So I found that electronic drum sets have triggers on them, and you don't have to barely tap them. You don't have to do all that stuff. Baby Boop, welcome. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well today, my dear, and it's wonderful to see you. Um, and so my it's good for my knees, and it exercises my legs, and it keeps me moving, which is healthy for my back and stuff. The doctor said, um, with both my legs going, but it would be easier on an electronic kit because it's all rubber. Okay, so there's not that much reflex and a lot of the shock that comes through the sticks, and it's good. So I'm working on trying to put together. They're expensive though, folks. They're very expensive. One of these days I'll put it together and I'll be able to get one and I can get back to playing because I got people bugging me to play every day. Caden wants to play too, um, in a bad way, which I thought would be really cool. Actually, we were talking about having him sing and we were going to play the instruments. He might be able to play the piano while he's singing, or the sax, talking about fitting that in there somewhere. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do something one of these days, hopefully. So, anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you, and what you guys want to talk about in the true crime world, guys. So let me see here. Yes, I hope you're feeling okay today, baby boop. I really do. And all of us are sending our love back to you, ma'am. Let me see here. All right, so moving forward. And by the way, somebody had asked the name of the band at that time I was in was called Sid Jangles. Don't ask me where the name came from, but it is weird. Weird name. It happened. I don't know why. Oops. Hold on here, guys. Let me get that. There we go. Milo, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Come here. Get your baby. Get the baby. You see it? This dog is petrified to come near me in this chair. Come here, buddy. Where's the baby? Get the baby. See it, baby? Bring it here. Give it here. Come on. Give me your ball. Your ball. Get your ball. Get your ball. Get your ball. Yeah, he won't come near me when I'm in this chair. I don't understand it. I don't. He don't like this chair for some reason. Let me see something here, guys. Let me get this up and rolling. All right. Check this here out. It's a little bit of good news. Mr. Brian, how are you, sir? Good to see you today. Lou, welcome to you, Brian. I hope you're feeling good today, buddy. Great to have you here. All right. Miss Sherry's in the house. Welcome, Wisdom Speaks. Good to see you. Well, Brian's right here, Miss Annie. Here he is. And hello back to you, my friend. Great to see you. Okay, guys, let's check this out real quick. Let me know how the audio is if you have any problems.
Out of jail if convicted of the 60 new charges. Stephen Stearns will never get out of jail if convicted of the 60 new charges filed against him this week.
Yeah, that is what a former officer turned professor says about the lead suspect in 13-year-old Madeline Soto's death. WashU's Megan Mulatto found out why there is still no charge specifically for her death.
No matter what, he's not getting out of jail.
Professor of Forensic Studies at Florida Gulf Coast University, David Thomas, says if Stephen Stearns is convicted, he will never see a day outside a jail cell.
Originally, they charged him, I think it was 1 or 2 charges in the very beginning. And that's fine because they got him off the phone. And so now what they've done is they've done a complete forensic analysis. There's no doubt in my mind that's exactly what they did. And he has recorded almost every incident that he had.
Stearns is the lead suspect in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. He was arrested for several charges, including sexual battery with a child, after detectives found pictures and videos on his phone. Then they found more evidence, leading the state attorney's office to file 60 new charges against him Monday. including 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child and 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12. The charges, enough to be sentenced to life in prison if convicted.
Capital felonies means that he'll face life, he'll be in prison for life. And there's no doubt in my mind they have the evidence to secure, to make those charges, they have the evidence to support that.
Thomas says now the question is life in prison or the death penalty if Stearns is charged with Madeline's murder. He says there's likely already enough circumstantial evidence to charge Stearns with murder, but he thinks detectives with Kissimmee Police want to make sure their case is sealed.
Is give them,
Thank you, War Eagle. Appreciate that very much.
Give the medical examiner's office an opportunity to do their job, because it takes time to do a great forensic analysis. Is they want to make sure that justice is served and served properly.
In Kissimmee, Megan Mulatto, WESH 2 News.
And that's good to hear. And that's kind of what I thought. They're putting together the best case they possibly can. Thank you again, War Eagle, and thank you to anybody that has donated and or will donate to support the channel this way. Guys, this pays my bills. This keeps me going. This pays the StreamYard, the internet, and all that. So thank you so very much for that, folks. I appreciate you very much. That's what I said. Drop him in general population. He's in segregation at this moment because we know they will unalive him, period. That's just what's going to happen. They're going to love him in that prison, I'm telling you. They do not. These are criminals. A lot of these are career criminals. They've done some bad things, but you don't hurt a child like this and think you're going to survive prison. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Especially when it's known that you did it. If it's known to be a proven fact that you did it, they don't play. They don't play, folks. So, I'm curious to see if they're gonna do the death penalty. I really am. I'll be honest with you. I'm curious because this is a lot of charges, you guys. It's a lot of charges. And that's my thought right there, Davey. That's how I look at this. I don't think that you should get it in some senses. I think you should have to suffer by sitting behind those walls in prison and dealing with whatever you get. Awesome, Tomboy. Thank you, hon. But that's what I'm saying, folks. You shouldn't. The death penalty is too easy. It's quick and you're done. You're gone. After what he's done to that poor little girl, and God forbid anybody else, that's too easy. That's the easy way out. It's boom, you're out, you're gone, you're done. That's not fair. That's not fair to her because of what she went through. No, you should have to have some form. You have to sit and think about what you did and how bad you hurt somebody or more than one person. It's just wrong to me in some senses. I really think so. That's just my thought on it. Thank you again, War Eagle, and thank you to anybody that has purchased and or sent me anything via this wish list. God knows I appreciate it. It helps me with my setup here and everything that I use to run this on a daily basis. I really appreciate you guys for that too. I'm sure he has, Julia. I'm promising he's already been threatened. That's why they're definitely not gonna put him in a general population because they know they'll be held responsible if something happens, and it's almost guaranteed something's gonna happen. 100%, Brandy. Yeah. 100%. I agree. All right. Let's see here. 100%. Hey, Groot. I agree, Josie. 100,000%. 1,000,000%. Non-stop punishment. I agree. I do agree wholeheartedly. He will be going to prison, though, Julie. That's the thing. He will be going to prison. He's in county right now, yes. But they have him separated because things happen in the county jails, too. Believe it or not, they do. People like him, I think, just took straight outside, done away with. Why make the people pay for him? I agree. One of the reasons I got into this stuff is because there's been a man sitting on death row for 40 years that we've all been paying for to keep him alive and feeding him and keeping him healthy and paying his medical bills and everything. And he murdered, sodomized, and destroyed a human life of a child when he was 12 years old, and we've been taking care of him all those years. Makes no sense to me at all, as far as I know, Brian. As far as I know, sir. Um, yeah, it does happen. It does happen. Absolutely. They can't watch everything. You know what I'm saying? They can't watch everything. And some of these people, they wait for them to get there and they go at them. Seriously. So, Esther Hahn, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, right. Throw them to the alligators. Robert Bell, great to see you as well. And happy Saturday to you, my friend. All right. So let me see here. Now we do have the trial date set for him. I think I told you guys last time I saw you. There really aren't any new charges set up here. Give me 1 second here. Let me see here. I think this. Now we all talked about the other day when I was live that some weird things were happening with this guy back in early in his life. DigiTV, welcome, good to see you. Where they were saying that he was saving semen in bottles and weird things like that. So this dude has got something's wrong. Just period. Okay, absolutely period. And he needs kept away from people, just completely away from people. It's weird, very very weird. All right, so yeah, there is nothing new with this here. Let me see. It's been stated that this man had over 400 images on his cell phone. 400, you guys. That's insane. Of these actions with Maddie. This is disgusting to me. Absolutely disgusting. I can't imagine. And the fact that he thought he was going to just erase all this, miss me with that bullshit. Completely ridiculous. All right, let's see here. Now I went over the affidavit, I believe, with you guys and broke all that down. Let me show this here. Okay, let's see if this is gonna Miss Cassie. Hello. Good to see you, dear.
We start with that. Maddie Soto was sexually abused for years, according to these new documents. We've been digging through nearly 40 pages of court records about this man, Stefan Stearns. He is the man accused of abusing her since she was 8 years old. Thanks for joining us today. I'm John Brown.
And I'm Marlene.
I'm just throwing up a trigger warning because some of this stuff may be a bit triggering because it's really bad stuff in some ways, folks. I'm trying to avoid the dark stuff. I don't want you guys to see or hear it, but you guys will get an idea. That's all I can say.
Lisa Goldsmith. Stearns is also the prime suspect in Soto's death. Tonight, Fox 35 is investigating how the sexual battery case is impacting Maddie's murder case. Fox 35's Randy Hildreth is joining us live tonight. So, Randy, investigators have a lot to piece together before they can charge someone in her death.
Yeah, good evening to you both. So I spoke today with a retired homicide investigator.
I'm showing you guys this stuff because a lot of people are asking me why they're not charging him with her death, why they're not. We're all asking that question. These are the best answers I could find for that, to give everybody kind of a, it's coming. Don't feel bad. Don't worry. It's coming. Okay. I just want everybody to know that so you guys will understand what's taking so long as it is.
They're not affiliated with this case, but he says based on his experience, he believes these two investigations are likely running parallel to each other, the sex crimes investigation and the murder investigation. And he believes as a nugget surfaces in one case, it will likely give detectives clues in the other.
With where we work, it has to catch our attention.
Sophia Wolf is a victim advocate and crisis counselor. She's followed the Maddie Soto case from the search for the teen to Tuesday's bombshell that the main suspect in her disappearance faces 60 new sex crime charges.
You can imagine the trauma she experienced.
The new charges for Stephen Stearns include sexual battery on a child under 12 and over 12, plus child porn. Stearns is Maddie's mom's boyfriend. Investigators say the images were found on Stearns' phone during the search for Maddie last month, and the alleged acts happened inside the family's home in Kissimmee. New court documents detail a suspected timeline from June 2019, when Maddie was 8 years old, to February 2024, the month Maddie went missing.
A lot of times with cases like this, where it has been going on for such a long time, unfortunately, like, children adjust to living in fear. Children are unfortunately sometimes good at masking some of these symptoms of experiencing trauma in their own home.
Staff at the Victim Service Center of Central Florida say signs of abuse could include behavioral or mood changes, but they see victims who stayed silent for years.
I think it does happen. It does happen, and it happens more frequently than we would like to admit.
Kissimmee police say they're still working through this investigation. Retired homicide detective David Nutting says investigators are likely looking into whether anyone may have known more.
Did she outcry to anybody? Remember that we call those outcry witnesses, to disclose any inappropriate behavior.
As for Maddie's death, so far no murder charges have been filed. Law enforcement and legal experts say it could be weeks before we get an update because things like final autopsy reports and forensic exams take time.
I would stretch that timeline from 2 to 5 weeks simply because this is not the only case that the lab is working on. It takes time to get DNA results.
And Stearns is expected in court next month on the latest round of charges. Reporting live this evening, Randy Hildreth, Fox 35 News.
Hello, Mama Bear.
The most stressful purchase of my life was buying my wife's engagement ring. There's so much
Hold
money
on,
and
guys.
so little.
Sorry about that. I was trying to reload and it didn't work. You're welcome to join me if you feel like it, Mama Bear. If not, no worries. There is a legal process that this has to be dealt with, guys. You're good, okay. So that's fine. They have to make sure that everything they have is what it is. It's got to be the real deal. They can't just go in. They don't want to do this more than once. Like with any other case, guys, they want to go in right with it, have everything together in a nice, neat little box, and just throw it there and out there and be done. And that's pretty much what it is. You know what I'm saying? I was teasing you, Derp. I get it. So let me see here what this is. This goes along with this as well.
New details now. These two 19-year-olds from Brevard County were gunned down in Indiana.
As Caroline Coles is live this afternoon.
Good evening to you both. And what's shocking all of this is the fact that this was all over vape pens. Of course,
this is part of the the news break that they had, so I'm trying to skip through it. Sorry.
Both families are grieving and wondering.
And we've seen multiple deaths over marijuana with these
Best friend, 19. The Indian River County Sheriff says depends when they were murdered.
lost their lives over THC vape pens.
Car, then tossed the gun into the woods before taking.
Bad stuff happened. They brought him right to the station.
Okay, I don't know what this is listed. So you see what it's listed as, digging through his documents, and then this is what it is. So I don't understand why.
The sheriff.
This story is horrible.
Of course, she is heartbroken. His community guide.
As well. Very much so. I'm sorry. I don't understand what happens. Sometimes these irritate me that they do this and then they load it into something else. Anyway, we'll move forward.
The most stressful purchase of my life was buying my wife's engagement ring. There's so much money at stake and so little time.
Stop with this. I don't want to hear about what you bought your wife there. Yeah, here, just in case you guys didn't see this, here's what I was trying to show you. I thought they were going to outline this for you, but they didn't. So, all right. So this is the list of the charges that they have against this guy. Okay. It's insane. 40 charges on the one charge, and just multiple charges, you guys. Now, I've listened to a few other shows where they've stated that they don't believe that Jen's going to get hit with any charges. I don't know. Okay. And the weird thing is the document that this is all listed on does not name the victim. That's quite interesting to me. But again, I guarantee you that they're working on putting this case together to make it airtight. My understanding is that the mother is either at her sister's or she's I also heard that she was receiving mental health help at this moment. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay. But something's not right with her. I don't know if this is, I'm not reading all this to you because this gives like detailed things, and I'm just not going to go into that with you. Okay. Because it's pretty obscene and it's really, really vile. And it's beyond triggering. So that's pretty much what's newest in that case, you guys. Unfortunately, there's nothing new. It's a weekend, so we're not going to get anything new right now. And they have to have absolute evidence. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be a way, and I'm sure they're trying to find. They're waiting on, as we heard, for one, cause of death, the mode of death, so on and so forth. And they have to have the evidence proving that he did that. That's the hard part. Hey, Felicity. It's okay. Good to have you here. And like I said, there's multiple. There's 40 of the one charge. There's 10 of the other, 10 of another. I mean, there's multiple, and they're going to get every single charge on this guy. He will never, ever, ever, ever. If he doesn't get the DP, he'll never get out of prison again, ever. Thank God. I hope he gets multiple life sentences, and I don't expect him to survive in prison anyway. So at that point, in my opinion, he'll get probably not all that he deserves, but he'll get some of it. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I've listened to interviews from his friends and this and that, and we never would have ever expected him to do this and that, and those are the ones you got to watch. Okay, I will try to be there, bro. Thank you for jumping in here, Popper. It's good to see you. I'll get a hold of you after the fact. Well, thank you, Felicity. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a fact, Sherry. That is a fact. I will be there this evening, my friend. Hope you're doing well. And thanks for popping in here. Appreciate you. Moving forward, let me see here. All right. Okay, let me see here. Now, 2 days ago, I don't know what about you guys, but I follow along pretty closely with the group. They call themselves the Behavior Panel. I like what they have to say. I respect all of them, and I think they put out really good info based on what they, perceive with what's going on. And I caught up with them 2 days ago. They did a show on Sebastian's parents, and as we know, Sebastian Rogers has been missing for quite a while now, with really no leads. So I wanted you guys to check this out, and then we're going to talk about it. That's why we're going to do this open discussion today. The Behavior Panel discussed what they believe is going on from their perception with Sebastian Rogers and their parents, his parents, so stepfather and so on and so forth. Like I said, some of you may have seen this, some of you may not have. Them might be a little late. My apologies. Like I said, I'm a little behind because of the internet and stuff like that. It's interesting to me. It's very interesting to me. So we're going to check this out and review this and then talk about it, because I want your guys' opinions on this. I've seen it scan through at one good time, but we'll see what goes on. Absolutely. And then that's why I want to talk about it after the fact. So I'm going to put it up a little bit quicker so that we can get through it faster, and subtitles in case you don't get it. And let's do it. All right.
Today, we're going to break down and analyze the behavior of the parents of a little fellow named Sebastian Rogers. Craig, wants to tell us about the videos we're going to watch.
Yeah, so Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old missing teen who is somewhere in the autism spectrum. We'll learn that from the parents as they talk about it. He was last seen on February 26th. He left the house with no shoes, took a flashlight only.
Now, there is one thing that I heard that I kind of caught my attention, that it's been brought up that the stepfather hadn't seen Sebastian himself personally until from going back to the middle of February, which was an interesting thought to me. I want to look into that a little bit more to clarify what that's all about, but we're going to check that out too. So here we go.
When we say left, we don't know how or when or with who or if with who. So we're going to watch this video and work through it. This investigation, this has now become an investigation. It was a massive search for several days, and we're going to look at the parents' first interview on 7 March of 2024.
So first, just express, I can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Not anyone.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Always. He's going to walk through that door. And the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
That boy's going to have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, so let's first start by talking about, there's so much information, disinformation, misinformation out there about this case that what we're going to have to do is rely on what we can see. So what we're not doing is telling you what the facts are any more than we have learned from this channel or that channel. In the beginning, there were people saying that the father was.
And I agree with that, Davey. I've struggled with that. The mother seems odd, but she seems to be suffering genuinely. What is she suffering from, though? There's my question. Is she suffering because the child's not home and she's distraught over that, or is there something else? Okay, no problem, Mama Bear. And that's what my question has been. The very beginning, I was defending her because something was wrong. Something just wasn't right with that. And I seen the emotion, and I'm like, okay, I can get with this. It made me feel like it was realistic. And then it took me a few minutes or a few times to watch these interviews and go, something seems off, maybe a little different. You know what I mean? That he runs a crane, Brian, a very large crane in Memphis, away from the home. So it's another scenario, and that's something else that we've talked about. I don't know. I just don't know what to take at 100% from this yet. I'm definitely suspicious. I'll be honest with you. 100% suspicious. So
left the night before. And then there are people who say had been in Memphis for 2 weeks, the stepfather. So there's a ton of stuff here. And what we're going to do is tell you what we see. Some of you are going to be irritated by it. That's okay. That's part of it. But what I want to start with is saying this guy's a tower crane operator. You know what a tower crane is? It's you climb up a really big ladder and operate a crane. You're moving stuff around over people's heads all the time. So if he's not as flappable, not as shaky, doesn't bother me because I think, okay, here's a guy who does something that's kind of high stress for a living. That part's one thing. But what I am going to do is compare him to him, not him to me or him to Mark or him to Scott or him to Chase. We're going to look at what we see in him and look for deviations. In the beginning, she's doing an adapter that is awfully close to what I usually refer to as transfer from a true crime workshop, where a person makes himself emotionally unavailable to you by some kind of movement, by too much overwhelming emotion, but she isn't unaffected. She's available. So don't take that out of your mind that just because she's swaying means she's doing something. It means she's comforting self because that release of nervous energy is comforting. There's a clear handoff from her to him. And if you don't think that's a handoff, you're not paying attention to what they're doing. That doesn't mean that she said, if I cry, if I laugh, if I do, you need to do this. It means that he sees that she needs that relief. Could be scripted. Don't know. But his language in there is awfully wooden and awkward, which tells me that this is probably when they were thinking about what are we going to say. He's going to say it's been an emotional roller coaster because the language seems awkward. It doesn't seem accurate or upfront. It's okay because that's what people do. There's also a couple of other little bitty pieces of body language, and then I'll go to something else, let you guys cover the rest. But he does kind of, that's fair, body language when he's asked the question that he should have considered about, I forget exactly what it is. Oh, yeah. When she says, there's still hope, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, there's hope. I should have said that, should have thought of that. That's when I've seen that body language. There is, however, some really interesting body language when they talk about friends and when they talk about a lot of people coming back. He's going to have more friends than he's had in the past. And her lead into that, the stress on that word friends makes me wonder, was there some kind of an altercation about his access to people that she feels guilty for? She feels something about, because that comes up pretty strong in both their body language and in her stressing of the body language or of the word. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, and to mirror Greg, we're here to analyze the behavior only of Sebastian's parents. And first and foremost, I want to emphasize that there's an outpouring of community support for Sebastian. And our focus is solely on understanding the behavioral dynamics of what's going on and how it might contribute to Sebastian's getting back home. So this is not about assigning blame or guilt. So we're just doing an opinion here to help in any way that we can. So with this rocking back and forth, I think it's a self-soothing behavior that people very often exhibit when they're under a lot of stress or they're going through some high level of anxiety. It's a way for our body to comfort itself in the absence of external comfort. And then there's a smile when she turns to her husband here. And this is likely disbelief, not some kind of joy or happiness about the moment. This is why we talk about context and when those behaviors occur. It's so important. And for now, I'm just going to assume it's baseline until I see more with this rocking and stuff. And when she says he's going to walk through that door, or no, he says this, when he's going to walk through that door, there's a lip pursing behavior right there, which is a little unusual. We see this kind of lip pursing. And this is most often a nonverbal sign of disagreement or disapproval. And sometimes it's like a person's holding back something they don't want to say, or they're expressing doubt about what they just said. And they're not looking at each other and they're not responding to each other's statements. And I think this could be a sign that there's no rehearsal, but it could also indicate there's something going on between them, like some emotional drama, which I'm sure there is, especially if Sebastian's missing and they're both innocent. And in the videos we've seen like this one, where we do know the outcome, this behavior is more common in people who are innocent, but there could be more to see here. And I think this single behavior doesn't spell anything definitive. I'm not hearing his name mentioned yet, but if I hear minimal mention of a missing person's name, which you've heard us talk about before, and there's no other indicators, like big piles of indicators that indicate deception, it's just a data point. So I keep that in my back pocket until I see a cluster of behavior. Scott, what do you got?
All right, thanks, man. I agree with you. I'm seeing a lot of the same things you guys have seen so far. But right out of the gate, there's a little something with each of them that bothered me a little bit. Like we were talking about before, doesn't mean they're innocent, doesn't mean they're guilty. Nothing. I'm just telling you what I see. We're just telling you what we see. He shows no emotion toward her whatsoever. It's a flat effect and no grief, no concern. And he looks really rested. And that rocking she's doing back and forth. We see this throughout all the videos we're going to see today. What we'll look for during this, pay attention to this, is fascinating the way this works. You'll see them rock in tandem a few times, especially at the beginning of the first one to answer. As she's rocking, he'll start rocking with her. So he's matching her rocking. And I'm sure, like what you were talking about, Chase, the emotional thing between them, and she may have just sealed herself off. She's probably in such a big upheaval of emotion. She's short with him, he's trying to be cool because she's worried about a kid, is what I would think. That's what I took out of that. Her eyes are red. she's not rested. She looks like she should look. And that upheaval emotion that we see, she's suddenly reliving that horror. I always talk about that on here, how we're not seeing that. So that's one of the things we're seeing with someone who we haven't seen with people who aren't innocent. She's got a new Kleenex. Now, if you remember, the last person we looked at that was crying and all that stuff, constantly wiping their eyes and doing their nose with the same Kleenex. And it's just this balled up little ball. Hers isn't, it's new. And notice how many times during these videos, she doesn't wipe tears and she doesn't wipe her nose. She only does it a couple of times because those are the times that she needs it. People who are faking this usually are under the impression, I should have tears coming out, so I'll keep doing this. And notice when she uses that Kleenex here at the first, where she just does it on the top of her nose. So I thought that was interesting as well. Not saying she's innocent, not saying she's guilty, but these are just things that I'm noticing anyway. And then she's not looking at him at all. Doesn't look at him at all, but he does look at her as they go through. So, all right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, very much the same. Look, time has passed since they had, notified the police, and this interview is happening. Maybe as much as, what do you think, Greg, like 8 days or something like that?
8 days. 8 days.
Around about that. Around about that. Okay, so look, it's time for them to organize a story together if they wanted to. So look, they could organize a story together. What they can't organize is the synchronicity of their movement. That choreography would take a lot of rehearsal, and it's consistent. She rocks back and forth 3 times. He breathes in and out. There's this waltz timing going on throughout. You can't rehearse that stuff. They're absolutely in synchronous movement. That would suggest, just as you're saying, Scott, that there is a shared experience, a shared emotion. You know, if there wasn't anything shared, it would be very hard to organize that subtle synchronous level of
one thing I did miss, though, was that they do look at each other in that one. For a second I thought we're looking at number 2. They look at each other for about 2.5 seconds on this one. So sorry about that. Sorry to jump in, but I had to make sure I said that.
Sure. They also talk about hope. You know, Chase, to your point of there is something unsaid. You know, there's a possibility here of a loss of hope and a sense of hope at the same time, having to balance the two things together, hold those two ideas. You've got to remain hopeful at the same time. You may be losing hope. So I think they talk about hope, though. There's some closed lips there from the male, from the father. He uses the idea of that boy rather than maybe she does as well. We're not often throughout this going to hear Sebastian named, often called that boy. I would suggest that's more likely cultural than them trying to distance themselves. It's more likely a term of endearment. That's all I got on that one. Early days, but looks to me pretty good from moment one, just on the synchronicity that they have together, which is tough to organize. So they could have organized a story. That's all I got on that one.
Yeah, one thing to add when we're all talking about this and synchronicity and all that is couples get to a certain behavior mark. To your point, he knows what to expect. He knows that how many times she's going to sniffle, how many times she's going to cry, what she's going to. He probably has some of that already in his head from the amount of time they're together, and we do it on a subconscious level even at some point.
And couples are in sync when they're being honest. They fall out of sync during those times when we're pretending.
That's one of the things that bothered me doing this. As when we first started this, I'd made up my mind. I knew I had made up my mind about something in this, and I'm just not sure about it at this point. But that's one of the things that swayed me on it.
One of those tape replays. So first, just express, I can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Not anyone.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Always. He's going to walk through that door. And the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
That boy's going to have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
So here we are, 8 days now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend.
We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed.
Now, one thing about this is me, but I thought about this then. When she explained that we were having a really good weekend, why was that an important piece of information for her to say? Is it normal to not have good weekends? Is it just because she remembered it because it was memorable as a good weekend? Is there a reason behind that? That was something that got my attention. Jesus,
My thought would, my thought is that she said that to say it was a really good weekend. There was no reason for him to just up and leave.
Right. There we go. See? And that's what I'm saying. Is that the reason? Or is it because of something else? You know what I mean? So I'm hoping, because I didn't, like I said, scan through this. I didn't see every bit of this. And that's another thing. Sherry just said, why does she say if we were fighting? And it seems as if that there was possibly rough times at times. You know, he's a teenager and he's autistic. I have that child living in my home, guys.
I have two of them.
Mama Bear knows the things that we go through at times. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And it would make anybody that is dealing with it on their own have some issues, struggling with it. Telling you right now, it's not easy, folks. Not at all. So those are some things that I was thinking at this point when this was said. And let's see what they're going to say, though. And welcome, Mama Bear. It's great to have you here.
Thanks.
He did. He said, good night, Mom. I love you. Say good night to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed. And when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
So in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock? 6. So were you instantly thinking something's wrong? Or were you like, he may just be already in the shower?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him. He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
And so at that point, is that when you call 911 or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
And again, I'm a little weirded out about, maybe it's just the way they do things. I've just never seen anybody in this situation like this do three-way call to call the sheriff's department. I don't understand that. Is there a reason behind it? Is it because she couldn't handle it? Is it because he wanted to be part of it? I mean, those are things that I'm not quite comfortable with and understanding of, I guess you could say. Because if it was me and my wife in that situation, we would have hung up the phone and immediately called 911. Boom. That's that. One of us, not both of us. Okay. It's weird. And to me, as she's saying certain things here, if you notice, she's like staring off and she goes somewhere else, in my opinion. She goes somewhere else completely away from this area that they're sitting here talking. Okay. Right. If he called, it would have been Memphis, not local. But why did they both have to do a three-way call to call local? I don't understand that. That's all I'm saying. And of course, there was the reference to past tense, as in referring to the victim in a past tense. You have to catch that, folks. That's always been an issue with me. So I don't know. Everybody does things in different ways. Just saying, these are the things that caught my attention that were off to me. I'm not saying that they're a bad thing. I'm just saying they were a little off to me. But I did notice that some of these questions, if you look at her, she goes off somewhere else in her mind. Is it just complete grief? Or is she thinking about something else? Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Minutes they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
There's one line in here that got to me when I was watching it, and it's when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. Reminds me of a sheriff in Texas who said it'll kill you big enough to die. So some strange wording, but it's an outlier. So let's look into it. This could be habit, the way that she speaks and references this action, and this could be indicative of him being present or being there. I'll let you decide if you feel like jumping to something right away. A lot of people feel good about doing that. At this point in the clip and in the videos, I'm not seeing a typical amount of behavior here that would make me suspicious. And at the 8-day mark, they're still expressing some signs of hopefulness, which is good to see. They're looking at each other more here, as I would want to see. They're more willing to.
And that right there very well could be what it is she's speaking, if it comes off that she's speaking in past tense, that she's speaking about things that he did before he disappeared. And I'm hoping that's how it's played out in that sense. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. So we just have to see.
Look away from the interviewer and connect during these critical parts of their recollection. And the stepfather, is detailing going through a search of the house comfortably with added detail that we'd expect to see in innocent people. And in a case of somebody who's guilty, I would more expect to see that somebody would not want to go backward from the 911 call to add more details. And if you notice, that's what happens here. They go backwards. So he's comfortable doing this. It's a good sign. And when a piece of a story comes out that's rehearsed and false, the story is, it's super hard to go backward. And often you'll see people are more likely to be guilty, feeling this internal pressure to continue down.
What he's saying, Julie, is that when they contacted the sheriff's department, they responded there in minutes from the call, meaning the sheriff's department responded within minutes. Not him, the sheriff's department. He was on the road immediately, from what he says, on his way home as soon as that happened.
Down the path of what makes them comfortable. And what makes them comfortable is something that they've rehearsed. So the father's using comfortable hand gestures that are timed with his speech. The mother is using her eyes and head comfortably to illustrate searching the house. And earlier we talked about the mother's rocking back and forth and that we need to pay attention to it. This part here is where I wanted to look. And when there's a critical part of a story coming out that's deceptive, this takes up so much mental energy to be deceptive that the body would stop rocking to focus the mind on the story. And she keeps rocking through it. And what I'll be looking for from a profiling perspective is when the rocking stops. Blink rate, gestures, facial expressions, and movements are all in line with somebody being truthful and honest. One big thing to notice is that there's no focus in either of them on managing perception and exaggerating the sadness and grief. Those are the two big things we see in just about, I think, maybe 100% of these videos. Manage perception, exaggerate the sadness and the grief. We're not seeing those two big hallmarks. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, when I asked him to go to bed, he did, and there's a little bit of an exhale of laughter around that. So a release of tension around that. My guess is, and I'm speculating here, is you've got a male here.
And also, guys, that I can refer to my wife. I asked her about that, about the go to bed thing, and then the smile and stuff. She said that could be a comforting. This is my wife's opinion, and it's just an opinion. That could be a comforting thought, like a thought or a memory, a comforting memory to her, thinking about him. That's why she smiled, not that she's not caring. Okay. And that why they both did that at the same time. So that is very possibly what it is because she's thinking about that moment, and it's a happy moment for her, and therefore she's going to smile about it throughout all of this. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Think of it. Yeah, think of it in that sense as well, folks. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, reaching teenage, more testosterone, therefore more obstinate on the spectrum as well. So that can exacerbate the routines and the sense of risk as well, doing things that are more risky. Obviously, we know that levels of testosterone, as they go up, we see less risk in the world. We'll take more risks the more testosterone that we have going around our body. That's why if you're a male, a male will have a propensity on the aggregate to create more testosterone than a female. Not every day, but most days, if you aggregate all males together. And that's why you will pay more for your driving insurance, especially if you're anywhere between 15 and 23, because you see the world as less risky the more testosterone you're creating in your body. So just a little behavioral thing there. If we've maybe got a male here that is seeing less risk in the world, and so it's interesting to the mother that she asks him to do something and he does it. So, no blame, though, to the child. He's not a runner. He's a good kid. He's not mischievous. Often in examples where we do see parents involved in some way or holding back information, there will be some level of blame placed around the kid. Here, we've got no level of blame. Look, let's just look at the male here. We're not going to see grief in the forehead here because the guy's wearing a cap and he's shaded as well. So we're not seeing some of the areas of the body that we would like to see if we're to see grief, if grief is there at all. I don't know whether it is or not. We may see it in other parts of the face, but we're not going to see it in the forehead here. I don't know why. There's a deep exhale. I don't know why he walked out that door. Deep exhale there. So there's clearly a pause there before why he walked out the door. What's that about? I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, but clearly there's a pause for thought about the idea of him walking out the door. Is it a pause for thought about the possibility that he was walked out the door in some way or taken out the door in some way? I don't know, but certainly there's a pause. There's a moment taken there. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, Mark, interesting. You bring up the whole, we can't see his forehead, so we can't tell if there's grief. But I do see something interesting in the beginning. I see a grimace, kind of a grimace in his face and a deep swallow. We usually associate those with really strong negative emotion, usually. Now, it could be something else. But we just came out of the last video and into this one, so it's related to that last question around the kid. So I think it's still there. His blink rate is really low. I think part of that is his baseline. If we watch, he does a flutter occasionally, but when she starts to bring up so many people, I think this is a hot button for him. We'll find out later. When she does that, his blink rate jumps. It pulses right through the roof. And he goes into internal voices. She's talking and mills his hands. Now, here's where people automatically say that means he's lying. Well, for us, it means something's going on in his head. He's milling his hands. We don't know why. We can see it. We can't see his hands. We know he's feeling stressed, but there's a missing kid involved. Mark, to your point, we don't know their relationship. We don't know any of that. One interesting and odd part of body language to me that does occur. She says, we had a really good weekend. And he's down to his left in internal thought and disengaged with his eyes. And then he raises his head and nods yes. Well, if he's not home, how does he know what that was? Or is he just supporting her is the question. So we'll look for a pattern of that, looking for where he's trying to endorse something versus just supporting what she's saying. We really can't tell. And I agree with you, Mark, when the mother laughs about he did go to bed, he's been defiant. Clearly, you can tell that. And here's an interesting one. I've tried to find out whether he was home, whether he was away at this time. She says, I went to bed. I, not we, I. So interesting. That means, sounds like he wasn't home. She would have to be very thoughtful and use the pronouns if she was going to cover that. And then let's see. If you listen to her cadence slow, Chase, I'm with you 100%. We always talk about these guys managing perception. If we go back and look at the Madeline Soto case, the stepfather managing perception, the mother managing perception, none of it. They're just going on about their business. And he's using big illustrators when he's telling the details of the story. Beret says larger indicators indicate more likely being honest. And then she uses big illustrators with her face. She's going from outside to inside. So those things are good. All those pieces start to look good. Only a couple of cues. Chase, yours, the word pattern shift is weird. I went to woke him up. And then the one with the endorsing with his head movement or saying, yes, we did have a good weekend. Can't figure out which it is. We'll figure out and watch as we go. Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, I woke him up and he wasn't there. I agree. I think that's cultural. Because people talk like that. And I'm from there, not Hendersonville, but from the South in this area and spent many years, in that area. Know a lot of people in Hendersonville. That's the way they talk. And so I wouldn't think there's much to that. Maybe, I don't know, but that's the way I'm looking at it. What bothers me about this is he said, we called 911 and then when the sheriff's department showed up, he said, they showed up within minutes and here we go. So it's this lateral logic thing where you're presented with some facts and you assume the dad is home during that, like when all that's happening, when he couldn't possibly be home if she just found out.
Brian, what he's saying is in cultural, is in that area, within that area in the United States, people talk that way, they speak that way. It's just their way of speaking about things is what he's meaning, in my opinion.
I called him, and then he came, and then when he was in, where was he? We found out in
Memphis,
Georgia.
Yeah, but Memphis. But let's also realize, just because this is a thing we deal with all the time. If that were the case, Wendy Adelson, and that whole thing would not be an issue. You don't have to have proximity to have involvement. So yeah, I think it's fair to still look at him as if, right?
Yeah. So it still makes me wonder, when I first started this, I was under the impression he was at home that night and then went to Memphis that morning. So I figured maybe he's the last one to see the kid. And I went down this road of looking at him from an entirely different angle and couldn't believe how relaxed he was. And I thought, this is a cold dude, man, because he's so relaxed. And so, but there are some things, if you look at it from that angle, you'll say, you know what? I think this guy there might be something up here. But if he's been in Memphis 2 weeks, then they don't hold up to that. So it could go either way. But anyway, back to the lateral logic thing. You're given information, but there's that one little piece missing. You don't get in there and look for that one little piece of information, and you accept everything and move on without thinking about it. And that's what I had done. And I love lateral logic, so I can't believe that got by me. But they don't. And this one, they don't look at each other or touch each other either. She's leaned back or leaned forward as a grieving person usually does. That's totally normal. He's leaned back a little bit. That's another thing that made me think about him some. But he's probably, he's not as emotionally involved in this as she is, because it's not his real son. I know that sounds horrible, but there's a big difference there when you're mad at this. You say you don't get along with this kid's father. I mean, I don't know how long these two have been married. May not be very long. Maybe doesn't have a good relationship with the child. So that could be the reason for that. We're not seeing any comparable stress on him at all.
I don't know about that, Terry. I have not yet seen that, but I will be looking for it.
It's fairly relaxed, which makes me think he's so relaxed that he's not worried about thinking, I did this, I've got to watch it. Back to perception management. They're not doing any of that at all. It's like they don't care, because if you didn't do it, you shouldn't care. There's no reason to do that. So that's really interesting. His voice doesn't sound stressed. He doesn't show any upheavals of emotion or any emotions at all, really, as he goes through this. He does look at her a few times throughout the interview, but she never looks at him outside the 2 times that we'll see him look at each other when they go through here. But neither one has said the child's name yet. Doesn't mean anything. So, in this situation may not mean anything, but we haven't heard his name yet, except from the interviewer.
One of those tape replays.
So here we are, 8 days now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you." Say goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed. And when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
So in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock? 6. So were you instantly thinking something's wrong? Or were you like, he may just be already in the shower?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
And so at that point, is that when you call 911? Or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made a report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her. So yes, you were not home?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's, I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, I was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, and then we went from there and led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
Within minutes, they're at the home.
Yes, ma'am.
It was rapid fire. They had cars. They had cars from here down to the main road, as far as I could tell.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this, I think he's probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means. But there's answers to questions that have no answers, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately. And we just don't have that.
Chase, what do you got? One thing I would really expect to see with these questions that are being asked is what we call target locking behavior. And this kind of pairs in with something called confirmation glance. And this one behavior I've seen in somebody who's guilty
every time they have this behavior. And it's typically during two super key points here. And the first one is when a super critical question is being asked that can help them to shape their perception a little bit, when their innocence can be displayed. Second is during and just after their answer to make sure that the interviewer believes it. And we're not seeing any of this here at all. When she's talking, he is comfortable looking at her. And this is more common in innocent people, where guilty people want to do two things. Number one is keep an eye on the interviewer. And two, avoid looking like they're influencing or persuading the other person by looking at them. I know it's irrational, but that's what the fight or flight brain believes. The mother and father or stepfather have an equal amount of exasperation with not being able to understand why he's missing. And the mother is comfortable guessing he walked out the door instead of introducing and injecting ambiguity and uncertainty about some course of events. So that's very good. So keep in mind, when we see small behaviors like Greg talking about him grabbing his arm just a second ago, one of the reasons we talk about clusters so much, pointing out one behavior in isolation is next to meaningless. We've got to have these little clusters of behavior for anything significant to come out of it. That's all I got here. Scott.
All right. Yeah, I agree. It's this in this video. It's hard not to go over the same stuff. So I'm trying to knock out a bunch of the same stuff. But Greg, I agree with you. When he scratches his arm, it seems like something's up there. I think all that's happening here is he's trying to find something to say, so he'll have something to say. I don't think he's a big talker when it comes to tell us what you think about so and so. I don't think he's one to drone on and on. So I think for each one of these situations, he's just looking for something to say. He's just trying to be involved, trying to say something.
Scott, one thing I would add. I think it's really easy to pick a thing and lock down, and not just forget body language, the scratch. The whole point I was making is that, and then he opens up. So there's a difference. It's also the same thing. Why didn't you choose this question instead of that question? Well, people are under stress. They make different decisions. And this is the reason, like statement analysis, you got to be really careful with where you assign words to people based on where they're from and all that kind of stuff. Just a thought.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And then when he's trying to look more concerned than he's very concerned. Don't get me wrong, but he's trying to look concerned. And I'm under the impression that because he looks concerned for a second, then he goes away fairly quickly. Real emotions stick, even though he's feeling these emotions. He's not deep in it like his wife. And my father always said, if in a marriage, if one of you is in the ditch, in other words, one of them is down, so got a lot of stuff going on, you can't get in the ditch with him, or you'll both be in the ditch. So he may be one of those guys. It's like trying to stay out of it and trying to be I'm the guy here and I'm going to take care of everything. So that could be what we're seeing as well, which I'm tending it starting to look like that a little bit for me. But he doesn't really even answer the question there. It's just, he doesn't even answer it. And of course, she goes along showing the same emotional transmissions and transmitting the same thing that she has been up to this point. So nothing's changed much for her. She's just showing us all the body language of a grieving mother. Try not to repeat stuff you guys just said. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, just one thing is that when he was talking about being up in that crane tower early in the morning, receives the call, he's got this walkie-talkie in one ear and his phone in the other ear. I kind of thought, wow, that's pretty early to be working. And then I realized Mrs. Atwood out the back here she's got a tower block being built behind her place, and I can see the crane as we speak, and it's moving around. And that starts as soon as the sun comes up. So I don't know at what time the guy must climb up that, in the dark, which wouldn't be a job that I would want to do any day of the week. So look, often we don't understand the working times of other people, what their work is like. And it's very easy if they're doing something which is outside of our scope for us to go, well, that's really odd behavior, until we look around and go, for their life, it's not odd behavior at all. So I got on that one. Let's have another.
I have a buddy. Check this out. A buddy named Kyle, and his sister, hang on. His sister, Kira, met one of those guys as he was climbing, going to the tower. She could see him from their window, and as he climbed the thing, and every day she would see him doing that. Make a long story.
Listen, guys, not everybody's going to agree on everything in here. Everybody has different thoughts on what they see based on things that we have seen in other cases, I'm sure, but each case is different. Remember that. We have to keep that in mind, no matter how hard it is. Each situation and each case, each child, each person, it's all different, folks. Not every situation is going to end up being the same way. So again, these are speculative things that we're saying, very alleged stuff. People are going to feel a certain way, other people are going to feel another way. There's no reason to go at each other or be upset with each other. It's just a feeling. It does not mean, that's a fact, folks. And everybody needs to understand that. As always, everything we talk about in here is absolutely alleged and purely speculation based on what facts we are given, which are not very many. Okay, so let's just take it easy on each other. Don't be upset with each other. There's no reason for that. This is about Sebastian, not any of us. Okay. And all we're trying to do is to get the word out there and to understand a situation that we don't quite understand the best way we can. That's all. And that's it.
Exactly.
So moving forward.
For short, they got married. You go up again, down again, all that stuff. And she'd see him every day a couple of times. And they got married.
I don't know whether I see the same relationship for Mrs. Atwood and the crane driver.
Another Atwood incident.
One of those tape replays.
So you said you were on the phone with her, so you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's, I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, I was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, and then we went from there and led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
Within minutes, there at the home.
Yes, ma'am.
It was rapid fire. They had cars. They had cars from here down to the
main
road, as far as I could tell.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this, I think he's probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out the door.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means. But there's answers to questions that have no answers, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately. And we just don't have that.
Is there anything that happened that day that you think back and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside? Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
Now, there's something I want you guys to understand as well. Again, I've told you before, time and time again, that's why this case is so close to me, because I have this child living in my home. This is just like my son, okay? They don't premeditate things. They don't plan things out. It's like that, okay? It happens now, it happens then. It is what it is. It's a thought can come to someone a thought could have come to his mind, and he acted on it. And again, this is not to say that somebody did not lure him from his home, okay? He does have a phone. He didn't take it with him, but he does have a phone. Somebody could have talked him into something. He could have, and his bedroom's on the ground floor, folks. I showed you guys that. Very easy, and yes, very impulsive, Dahlia. Thank you. Okay. Impulse. Mama Bear has 2 children. I have a child. We all know how this works. It's boom, boom, boom. Right now. We're not going to wait, make a plan a week in advance, because it doesn't work out. Okay. It just doesn't work that way. So this could have been something that went on that night. Somebody could have lured him via his phone out that window. Off he goes. Boom. That's the end of it, unfortunately. And that's what I'm worried about. Okay. He was a gamer in some senses. He had a phone that he could have communicated with people on in some senses too. So I don't know, guys. We don't know. That's what we're all weirded out about. Okay. One of the main things, in a sense. So we're going to keep going, but I'm just saying that's my thought on that.
Even make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or you'd been in trouble, but he hadn't been in trouble. So, I mean, the $1 million question, why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
And that's what makes me feel like it was a sporadic situation that somebody may have sent him a message and said, and I'm just saying this is a so that people can understand what I'm meaning. Okay, this isn't what really happened, but somebody could have messaged him and say, hey, I got a brand new version of this game for you to check out. Come here and look at this. Somebody that knows who he is. Out the window he goes, so we can look at this. Or I got your dog out here in the street. You better come get him. Or do you want to see this new puppy? Since he loves animals, come out here and check him out. Well, it's 3:00 in the morning. Well, do you want to see this puppy or not? Boom. That's it. All it takes. My son has been the same way, guys. It's all it takes. Something to grab his attention. And he's out the window, out the door. whatever it is. Okay. Maybe that would explain the no shoes because it was going to be a quick thing. Come out here real quick. I want to show you something. Okay. Come here real quick. Real quick. I just got to show you this real fast. Come on, bud. And then you know, he's in his mind, he's going to run out here real quick, check at the situation and go right back inside. It didn't work out that way. That's what I'm feeling may have happened in this situation. It's very strange. Okay. I want to know who and why. That's who I wanted. That's what the biggest question in my mind is right now, because that's what I'm kind of feeling like what could have happened. Okay. So, I've had some other theories thrown at me that I can't go with right now because I'm not comfortable and I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. In relation to his biological father and stuff like that. I'm not going to speak on what's been said to me because again, I'm just not going to do that right now. Okay. He's suffering as well. The father, I feel very strongly that he's in pain because of this. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that's what it is. It's just my opinion. That's all I'm saying.
What about social media? Is there anything that, anyone he could have contacted? Understand he was somewhat of a gamer, or what was he? There was a video game.
Sorry, guys. The last time that my understanding, New York, is that they went to dinner. Him and his mother went to dinner that night, and he was seen on camera by those people in the restaurant as well that evening before he disappeared that next early morning. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And that's my understanding. That was the last person besides the mother and the father and the stepfather to see him was somebody in the restaurant. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's changed as of now. I haven't seen anything else besides that they went to eat somewhere at a restaurant and they left and went home, and that was the last time he was captured on any kind of cameras and or seen by other people. So
yep, that's my understanding.
Right. That's what I thought. I just wanted to double check to make sure.
Minecraft. He loves Minecraft. The game that he has is not online. He has the Switch.
We don't, because of how social media can be, he doesn't have accessibility to communicate with folks on internet. I mean, we have a firm belief that we just don't feel that right now he's capable of having that kind of responsibility. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, his phone is locked down, his computers, his gaming. He doesn't have a gamer tag. He doesn't have online capabilities with games. I mean,
we've combed every electronic. I
mean, we've cooperated with all the authorities as far as anything they've asked us to provide. We've provided, and still just don't have any answers.
Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, the $1 million question, or the other $1 million question, how did it go? And we get quite a cluster of gestures in the face there and gestures with the body. We've got kind of a closed lip frown, which turns up at one side, almost in kind of a contempt kind of way. We've got, certainly it's an asymmetrical gesture by any stretch. Hands go out in a shrug. There's a sideways look on that. Well, so it's quite a shift from what he's done before on how did he go. I would suggest what he's saying here is that he feels that's the question. How did he get out there? That's key. And I guess at this point, it's moving from a search to an investigation. And so I guess he's putting the stress on this. The how needs to be investigated, not the where is he. Where is he? They don't know where. They haven't found him at this point. We now need to go back and work out how did he leave. And it's maybe, I would suggest the stepfather is saying he didn't leave potentially on his own, or that's a possibility that needs to be looked at. If somebody's to think he's guilty of something, that's an interesting place to go. If you're guilty, to go, let's investigate this. Let's work out how he left, to put stress on that. If I were guilty of something happening in that house, I'd want people to be looking out, not in for stuff. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. There's a whole lot of adapting, and when they're asking him any reason, he's feeling awkward, you can tell. But this guy also, if we pay attention to him, most of his eye movement, the entire thing is going to be down left, where we think of that as internal voice, as he's digesting questions and how things are behaving. I don't think it means he's calculating and doing all that. but he's now moving. He's got a heavy internal voice, and his respiration's up. I think this is the crux of the matter. What happened to this kid? Where did he go? I think some of what you see in that kind of contempt or twisted face is when they call him a gamer. I think he's thinking, that might be a stretch. He plays a game and he does this. He does.
Now, one thing I will say this again, I said this the other day, and it's fact, folks, because I found it out the hard way. Caden, again, is a lot like this. My son is a lot like this child here, and I forbid him from having Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. I would not allow him to have a gamer tag on his Xbox either. He had every bit of it, folks, without me realizing it. He figured it out because he's very smart when it comes to electronics and things like shit that I didn't know about that you could do. And he got help from friends and people through his phone and blah, 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 so on and so forth. Next thing you know, I find 5 different accounts. Twice this happened that he did this, that I deleted everything, backloaded everything, took it all away from him, so on and so forth. If these kids want something, they will get it. So it is a very huge possibility that something did come out of that he did figure that out. Okay. I'm guessing that the child's very smart because he is high functioning, because children with autism that are high functioning are very smart in a lot of different ways, folks. Some ways they may not be. They excel in other ways, such as my son. Okay. I'm just saying it's something that is a possibility that he had communication with people through his game systems or his social media accounts of some sort. Okay. That they just didn't know about. Yeah. And he did have, that's a good point, Sherry. I know his biological father was strict. I don't think he was as strict as what Christopher was. Okay. And he had some access to be able to do some things like that if he chose to. I don't know that it happened. I don't know that it's fact that's something that went down, but it is something that is, in some senses, a very huge possibility. That's all I'm saying. So, or it could have just been somebody that was talking to him through his phone that saw this kid. Okay. Somehow or another knew what was going on in their life, maybe a neighbor, something. Okay. There was a registered SO that had moved into the neighborhood that hadn't registered until just this past year. Maybe he was stalking around the neighborhood, saw Sebastian in and out of the house here or there, and lured him outside with something, some way. Who knows? Okay. These are the questions that drive me insane because I want to know where this child is. I want him home safe and sound in his bed, happy with his family in a very bad way, you guys. It's been driving me nuts, and I've literally lost sleep over this one. I have. Okay. So I'm just saying these are things that are possibilities. That's all. That is all I'm saying.
Doesn't have a tag. What would be interesting for me is we all know that people who are on the spectrum, those especially who are really profoundly affected, often can be very good at remembering exact things. I would check the father. He's used the word he has no gaming tag. Father may have his own accounts. Kid may have ability to get into that, figure out how to make contact with people in a way that he doesn't understand. So I'd look at all that kind of stuff. But she's certain that this kid left. She appears to be certain. Now, we all know that when someone is missing, it's a lot easier to think that they left than they were abducted or somebody did something to them. So it's always a way of holding out hope. Chase, I agree with you earlier with his pursing lips when he was saying he's going to come home. We're going to see a little bit more of that later. I think this guy is a very practical, very pragmatic person in appearance, and maybe that's where he's at. But the dad's then goes to internal and emotion, as they're starting to say, how did he get out? That's when, Mark, I think you're seeing all that behavior. Like, I don't know. How would he get out of here? And I agree. He wouldn't come into my house and look and see if you can find how he got out. That would probably be the last place you want to go. When he does here's one thing that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't do. When somebody says, hey, tell me whether you're innocent. And you say, we're cooperating with the police. That doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And that's one thing. One of the first things I saw about this in the beginning was a little clip from him on one of the news channels that says, we're cooperating with the police. That immediately gets your hackles up and you go, well, we better go check and find out what's going on with this guy. Scott, what do you got?
All right. Yeah. When talking about the father, she says, about the real father, she says he talks to his son on a regular basis. Now, a lot of times you'll see that and go, oh, it's something wrong. But I think the mother and the father, obviously, they're divorced. There's probably a little rift going on there. So when she's talking about that, she probably calls him his son. Yeah, you come get your son. You do that. That could be, it may not be. But I think maybe that's why she's using that instead of saying the child's name. He's adapting with his hands, and she's still rocking, and he gets in sync with her for a second. But his breath rate goes up, and it's fairly heavy for a second. But because I can't decide this one, like I told you before, I'd gone down a whole road that I've got more information. It's like that there's no road there, and his eyes are darting around. So that makes me it puts me in the lot there for that question there. Then he looks at her again and she never looks at him. Then he adds another cornball answer to that $1 million question. And the same thing for the second $1 million question. What happened and how, where'd he go and how? My question would be what happened and where is he? But, you may not think like that along those lines when you're in that position. And like you were saying, where'd the question about cooperating with all the authorities come into play? Where do we hear that? He just threw that in there. I didn't see any place to even spark that as he went through. So maybe he's, I don't know, maybe he's worried about that. I can't really tell. But his so far his innocence has been in question here. So why would he add that? That makes me suspicious there. And then again, toward the end, they start sinking together as the rocket. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. And when he says it make more sense if we had been fighting, this statement is really revealing. There's a good chance parents who are involved would be far less likely to bring up any mention of fighting or anything negative. They tend to default to pretending that everything was perfect. Nothing bad ever happens. The dad also mentions him being in trouble, which is also a good indicator that he's genuinely missing here because it's not trying to pretend to be perfect. There's a strong confirmation glance after the mother says the word switch, and she's looking over to him right at that moment when she's talking about the Nintendo machine. This is most likely to see if the reporter, or she looks to the reporter to see if the reporter knows even what that is, because it's probably still a foreign object to the mom. So she's making sure the reporter knows it. Then they're talking about not having the answers. This is common. They're not introducing finality, complexity, or ambiguity into the situation. There's a huge difference between being at a total loss for what happened and what we've seen in other videos where the parents speak in terms of the case being unsolvable, all resources have been exhausted, everything that could have been done has already been completed. This is very different than that. So their behavior overall is apathetic and sad and not concerned with displaying emotion and managing perception. Those are the two big things that are missing here. There's not a lot of display of emotion, deliberate display, and managing perception. Keep in mind that nothing we say means anybody's innocent. And in all of our videos, people tend to think we're analyzing people or the case, but we aren't. What we're telling you in every video is about the presence or lack of behaviors. So if you hear somebody say anywhere on YouTube that they believe something and they don't point to the observable behavior into what they're saying, then you're hearing opinion about the person, not the behavior. So keep this in mind if you're watching anybody and ask yourself, do they refer to what they think to specific and something that's actually observable? And y'all talking about him going into the how, I would say with him talking to police in 90% of these cases, if you find out the how, that usually leads to where. So that might be something he picked up from the detectives. Mark, what do you got?
All right. I think we're all done. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Oh shit, he's frozen. There it is. Look at him. He looks like he's playing with those games. I'll get him. Like Space Invaders back in the 80s. Here we go. There he is.
And he's back. You're back, Greg.
Sorry, man.
And he was possibly upset or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving. It'd make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or he'd been in trouble, but he hadn't been in trouble. So, I mean, the $1 million question, why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
What about social media? Is there anything that, anyone he could have contacted? Understand he was somewhat of a gamer, or what was there was a video game he loved, right?
Minecraft. He loves Minecraft. The game that he has is not online. He has the Switch.
We don't, because of how social media can be, he doesn't have accessibility to communicate with folks on the internet. I mean, we have a firm belief that we just don't feel that right now he's capable of having that kind of responsibility. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, his phone is locked down, his computers, his game. He doesn't have a gamer tag. He doesn't have online capabilities with games.
We've combed every electronic. I
mean, we've cooperated with all the authorities as far as anything they've asked us to provide, we've provided, and still just don't have any answers.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way on his phone?
All his friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
So this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
No one can figure out where or why. All right. So let's talk about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well.
Yes, ma'am, very much.
Right. And how would you describe that relationship, the two of them and the four of you?
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy. And I mean, he doesn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
In two different households, and the communication between the three of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements, but in the end, we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
All right, Greg, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so this one I'm only going to cover a couple of things. If we want to talk about the relationship between the family, there's certainly something going on here. But anytime you got a family with a step parent and all that kind of thing, there's going to be some kind of disagreement. But if you don't believe it, he tongue juts when they're talking about how good the relationship is. She uses a qualifier relatively, and she does purse lips. So there's something going on between them. There's some baggage back and forth. It could be around, I read that he's pretty stern about use of the cell phone, and he says that here, says that we don't allow him to use it freely and that kind of thing. There could be disagreement with the father about that. And then you get to this baggage about where a child lives. So I'm not going to read anything into it. I'm just going to say you might even get different opinions from the father than you're getting from the stepfather and the mother, because that's the way relationships work out. You don't tell me. And then I've recently read that Sebastian was supposed to move back in with the father at the beginning of summer. Look, while we're at this, let's stop for just 1 second and say, do anything you can. Go look at posters of this kid. Push these posters through your social media network. Do anything you can to help people find this kid, whether he's safe or whether he's not safe. Let's get this kid some help right now and do as much as you can. Social media is a powerful tool. Broadcast this across everything you own, and we may actually get some help for this kid. Chase, what do you got?
Totally agree. So the stepfather here seems to be eager to grab onto this big question that the reporter brings up, of not being able to find where he is. And since we aren't seeing clusters of other behavior, I think this is more likely out of a desire to appear innocent, which, keep in mind, you still see in innocent people who logically understand that they're probably a suspect. Then how would you describe his relationship? And talking about the biological father, this is a question from the reporter. There's a strong pronounced tongue jut there. And this indicates disagreement or maybe getting away with something, but I think we're seeing disagreement here more likely. And this isn't spelling out guilt or innocence. And most families have some kind of contention between biological and step parents. Even if it's small, it could show up here with this tongue jut behavior. Again, tongue jut is not a cluster. So as he goes forward to describe this relationship, there's some disagreement and some signs that they don't get along all the time. But not only is that common, he's been openly saying it. He's open about talking about that, and pretty open about the relationship not being perfect. And his blink rate, when the biological father is mentioned, also goes upward. And I would not say that any of this would indicate a likelihood of suspicion or doubt as to his involvement. And I'm glad they're strict on the internet usage. I wish I had started at a younger age for that. I didn't know how dangerous it was. Scott, what do you got?
How old were you when you first got on the internet, Chase?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We remember because we were in the decades old when we got on the internet.
I remember when it started happening, and on the news they were talking about this thing called the internet, and they would spell out this HTTP, www, and all this whole thing you had to go to get mail from somebody or to go to some site, and you'd go. It was so archaic. But at the time, it was like, wow, look at all this. And people now just grown up with it like it's nothing.
I still have an AOL Messenger account.
I agree with that, Mama Bear. That's something I had mentioned last week when we were talking about this, that, it is hereditary. Okay. I'm more than likely on the spectrum in some form. I have chronic ADHD, adult ADHD, OCD. I have all these things. For those of you that don't know me, I do. And Caden is, and so does Brandy. Brandy's ADHD too. And therefore Caden has it twice as bad as us. Plus he has the oppositional defiant disorder, blah, blah, blah. And he's on the spectrum. So again, these things are hereditary wholeheartedly. So the mother very well, because right now in this situation, and understand this, I'm not sticking up for her or making excuses for her. I'm telling you that I know that my anxiety, and Mama Bear can attest to this to every one of you, my anxiety is ridiculous. When I'm not in here, being who I am in here with you guys, and I'm having issues, quite a few of there's Wisdom and Doodle and Mama Bear and a few others in here, and Brandy. My anxiety is insane sometimes, you guys, and it's due to my ADHD issues and things like this. It's all part of who I am. Rocking and crying, and you guys have watched me have my emotional breakdowns over different things, and when my anxiety's bad and things are going on and things like that. It's real, folks. I can only cover that up for so long. I try to be real as much as I can with you guys, because that's what I'm about. But she's right now going through her child being missing. And if she is on the spectrum or has these issues, she's holding strong pretty good for me. You see how she's taking breaths and how she's sighing and trying to catch herself and things like that. So it could be part of that too. So don't forget that as well when we're looking at what she's doing. That's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not taking her side. I'm not saying that, she's innocent of everything. We don't know yet.
Right.
But
Because I know I've done that. Like if I've been really upset, in an argument with somebody, and in order to keep myself calm and not go off the rails, I'll take a deep breath just like she did.
right.
And it just kind of, you're holding back all the tears and the, ugly crying and whatever, and just taking a breath and just kind of calming
Absolutely. And
yourself.
listen, folks, we're all grown-ups, we're all big people, we're all adults, but we still have a child inside of us, each and every one of us, that panics just like a child does, no matter what happens when bad things happen. And we react in that sense. We may try to hide that as adults, but guess what? It just doesn't always work out that way. This is a very horrific scenario right now.
And the
I
cameras
don't
and the
know.
attention and everything else on top of it.
Right. And I don't know that I would be able to be as calm as they have been, to be honest with you. I don't. I just don't. So that's all I'm saying. Keep that in mind as we're thinking on this and talking about this and watching this. That's all. It's a good point, though, Mom Bear. I appreciate that. You putting that out there very much.
I won't be telling that, dude. I remember the first ever email that I sent on CompuServe.
Who was it to?
To Douglas Adams, writer of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He put his email address at the end. He wrote the editorial at the end.
Yeah, I did turn this up on New York. That way we could get through it just a little bit faster because it's a bit long. That's all.
End of the first edition of Wired magazine in the UK, and I wrote him an email going, "Hey Douglas, I've got email. It's really cool." And he wrote back saying, "Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it?"
Wow. My first one was to Bootsy Collins. And I thought since I had an AOL account, he would have one too. So I sent it to, Bootsy Collins at AOL.com, and somebody wrote me back, it wasn't him. And I was like, dude, so it wasn't him.
Well, my first one was Behind the Firewall, Chase. You'll know all this stuff. Yeah. Scott, what do you got?
Okay, sorry, man. Yeah, as she starts her answer, they start rocking in tandem again. So for a few seconds, so they're locked up. I think emotionally, they're feeling the same thing, although she looks dramatically different than he does. This happened a couple of times already, as we talked about. So it's really interesting to see that. It happens. It's like matching and mirroring. That you do things you're not conscious of that make you look like that person, or you do things with that person that you're not conscious you're doing. So the big she says he says the big question mark, she says big question mark, he's vanished, and the mother whispers like that. I think what's going on there is when, like, quite often when you get in these traumatic situations where it's so much trauma, and you hear them say, "Well, tell me about whatever," and years later they go, "I don't even remember that week of what was happening. I don't remember what happened. I remember you being there, but I don't remember anything." I think that's where she is now. I think she's so traumatized she's not going to be able to remember what this interview, doing things like that. That's what that looks like to me, because I've seen people like that before, or go through that, and then when you talk to them, they say, "I don't even remember being there. I don't know what I remember that, but I don't remember actually being there. I was gone." So I think that's where she is at this point. And then after the second question, that's when we see that little tongue thing come out. It's almost like some people do when they're angry. So it was kind of odd there. And then the mother, she relays this positive information about the real father, which is cool. And then the stepfather relays information that makes him gives me impression that they probably butt heads a little bit, I think. Then he talks about the disagreements with what's happening with Sebastian at times. But then he explains he gets them worked out. The parents get them worked out as they see fit. But this answer, I don't know where this came from. There was nothing asked about that. But then again, I think it goes back to he's just trying to talk, to have something to say, to feel like, to be a part of it, and to connect with everybody on that. And another thing that sticks out is that huge micro expression of contempt. When it comes up on that sentence, I'm in contact with him almost daily, because just as he starts that, we see it go up like that, and this side of his face go up. And I'll put a quick little screenshot in there of that, because I pulled it out to show you. But something's at that point, something's not right there. I think that something's not right is, of course, there's competition, between the two fathers, the real father and the stepfather. There's going to be a little contention there, and So I think that's what that's about. And remember, excuse me, we haven't heard either one of them say his name yet. The only person that said his name is the reporter or the interviewer. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, simply a reiteration of everything that's been said here. Certainly the stepfather here becomes more alert the moment the biological father is brought up. I think that's reasonable given the politics of the situation here. It's not irrational to think that would happen to some degree. It's pronounced here because we don't see the father do very much anyway. He's not big, demonstrative with his feelings, so it kind of stands out a little bit here, but it's not out of the ordinary for the situation, I would say.
One of those tape replays.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way on his phone?
All his friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
So this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Molly.
To figure out where or why. All right. So let's talk too about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well.
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
Right. And how would you describe that relationship, the two of them and the four of you?
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy. And I mean, he didn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
In two different households, and the communication between the three of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements.
Now, this is where it gets a little weird for me, because we hear this from them, okay? And then when we hear Seth give his interview twice, it wasn't the same story. Something was different. Seth basically, which is the biological father, states that there is no communication, unless it needs to happen. So it's not he makes it sound like it's not a regular thing, other than him contacting Sebastian himself every day after school and seeing how his day goes for 30 or 40 seconds, and then he moves on. Okay, but this here comes out to be different coming from the biological father, which is what got my curiosity moving a little bit. Was it maybe how they see it as compared to how Seth sees it? Or is it because they're trying to glorify that relationship? I don't know. And I'm not going to speculate and say that any of that. I'm just going to say that it's definitely different and it caught my attention. That's all I'm saying. And yes, Mama's giggle is cute. I agree with that when she does it. Which is why she sold me on thinking she was so innocent, when in reality, she's very sneaky.
All right, pooper trooper.
Yeah, I changed that butthead.
You had to look.
And we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
I agree, Victoria. And again, this is something else that bothered me, guys. And it doesn't mean that it means something. It just bugged me. Why did Christopher have to be the one to contact Seth? And why is it that Christopher is the one that is in contact with him on a regular basis instead of Katie? My wife and I both had children from our previous marriages. Mine, I was married to the creature. We had 3 children. Brandy was married to her ex. She had 3 children. We came together. We had Caden. Brandy's never contacted my ex for anything, and I've never had to contact her ex for anything. We each did it on our own volition because they are our responsibilities. That's just how it was. Okay. Especially about the children. That didn't make sense. Now, if there was I had to do it for a quick reason for something like this, that's different. But he's explaining this like he is the one that has the communication with Seth on a regular basis. And again, is it because this is what Christopher wants? Or is it because that's what Seth wants, because he doesn't want to have communication with her, or if she doesn't want to have communication with him? It just, things do happen this way. And I agree, Doodle. That's what I'm saying in that sense. Or it could be something else. I don't know, but it is just one other thing that caught my attention is all I'm saying. Not meaning that it means anything, just something else.
Because I lost a lot of my guy friends because they got a girlfriend or a wife and they're like, no, I don't trust you around her. They're like, what? I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Thank God, and now my first relationship, the creature, I could not talk to another woman. None. Because they instantly wanted me, friend or no friend. It could be a 95-year-old woman that I was saying hi to, and I was accused of it. But that is, I found out, because typically the people that are accusing are the ones that are doing. So, which was the fact. Hi, Christy. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. But that has no bearing on what we're talking about, guys. I'm just saying. It was an interesting catch to me, is all I mean.
Let's talk about Sebastian. Tell me about Sebastian. How would you describe him?
Sweet, stubborn. He loves to help. He loves running, and he loves to play his games and his fidgets and Uno. Lord, that's one of his favorite games right now. Favorite color is green.
Does he love music?
Oh, God, he loves music.
An eclectic taste. An eclectic. I mean, from, as everybody knows, Eye of the Tiger to Eddie Vedder.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we got Pearl Jam on one hand. We've got Survivor on the other over here. We've got Taylor Swift. And
he's got a big crush on her. I mean, country, rock, classic.
We don't allow the hip hop.
Well, he doesn't really get into it anyways.
Things.
You mentioned he loved running. So did he love the outdoors at all? I mean, would something outside that was somewhat outdoorsy be enticing to him or pull him outdoors?
He loves, like, when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money. It was a fundraiser. And every year I did this many laps. I did this many laps. I mean, I've got T-shirts where they would write on his back. Every time the kids went around, they'd mark a mark on the back and they'd keep running. And he just had marks all the way across his back. He likes playgrounds. He hates being dirty. He don't like being dirty.
Yeah, he's not your tomboy style child where he goes outside and plays in the mud.
He loves animals, but he's terrified of bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, even a fly, and he's like,
All right, Chase, what do you got?
Both of them are expressing truthful recall when they're listing all these things that Sebastian likes to do. They speak about him in present tense, like he's still around. This shows us a couple of things. Parents who know the disposition of a deceased child are more likely to accidentally default to past tense when referring to them. And parents who speak in past tense about a child who aren't involved can show that there's a finality to their feelings, like they no longer have faith in the child returning. So all the expressions here are genuine and unforced. And when they're both of them discussing his likes and dislikes, they're comfortable. All the facial expressions, the gestures, the movements match the syntax and the timing. They speak about all the things in present tense with genuine joy. And parents who are involved with a disappearance, even if they can look back fondly on a child's behaviors, are still having to manage perceptions and maintain deception, which keeps them from being this fluid and unconstrained in their descriptions. So this fear of being discovered mutes and muffles these expressions that you're seeing right here in this video that look very genuine to me, at least. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, the same. Look, very positive comments around the child. Only one negative one, which is about him being stubborn, which is then kind of laughed off, I think, in a very natural way. To be positive about him, and there's every reason why a child on the spectrum reaching teenage years is going to become more and more stubborn often in their behaviors. Not every child of that nature, and not every child, but there is a possibility that this will be a thing for that family at the moment. They get really animated about the Sebastian's love of music. Clearly, that is a joy for them. It's they're proud. Both of them, they're proud. Especially the stepfather, I think, shows that real engagement with the son around that music piece. There's clearly,
and I agree with that. It made me feel like that could be what they may possibly have in common. Okay, the stepfather is a huge lover of music. In turn, like they're saying, he's proud of the fact that maybe, as he says, is eclectic. As I've explained with Caden, Caden doesn't like music that you would think he would like at 17 years old. He likes what we like. Okay, he knows what we like and knows what we know. And again, that could be the connection that the stepfather does have with Sebastian, if there is one, and that in turn gave me that feeling as well, that that's what he's proud of, because maybe he taught him some of that music. You know what I mean? He's proud of that. He did say that she did say he's not a runner. I that's exactly how she put it, Terry.
Yep.
Hey, love, Tina, good to see you. And they did at that point note, if you didn't notice, they did not speak of him in past tense. So that's correct as well, guys.
they're proud of his love of music and his engagement with the music. And I think the stepfather seems to show some kind of strong relationship with the son around that music piece. Not the kind of thing that I would expect from two people who've been involved in some kind of crime around the child. Again, do I know that to be true? No, not what I would expect. So you'd need to give me lots of other evidence for me to see that would show me an alternative to this. Show it to me so I could see it, hear it, touch it. You know, we want evidence to the contrary, not just possibilities and ideas and imaginations around it. Greg, what do you think?
So let's first talk about clusters of behavior. And we always say you need cluster of behavior to indicate deception, but that's not the only thing clusters of behavior can indicate. You have to look for clusters that are positive, clusters that mean something else.
Bingo.
And there's a great one here. The stepfather's all locked down. He's in internal voice and his eyes zone out. They go out of focus. That means he's thinking.
Spilled paint. I brought this up last week. This bothers me a lot. We had in here in Ohio, his name was Harley Dilly. Okay. And he went missing, and he went right across the street to an abandoned home. And
And long story short, by the time they found him, he was gone.
can you guys hear me?
No,
How about now?
now I can.
Sorry about that. I seen it go wicked. So anyway, his name was Harley Dilly. He went missing here in Ohio, not too far from me. And he went to school one morning and never went to school. He went directly across the street from their home to an abandoned home, climbed up the antenna, I think it was, climbed up, went down in the chimney, and he got stuck. And he was missing for 4 weeks. And then I can't remember how they came upon finding him, but that's where they found him, stuck and wedged in the chimney. Of course, he was deceased. I'm actually petrified that is a possibility right now. Spilled paint. So it is, because in my mind, I remember hearing them say that Sebastian likes to hide in small and confined spaces. Okay. I'm not saying that he's in a chimney per se, but in a place, something like that, he could have gotten wedged in there scarily and got stuck. And that's what I'm worried about. Okay. Because in turn, you can't breathe sometimes, you can't speak, and things like that. And it scares the shit out of me. I'll be honest with you that that's a possibility. Because he is autistic, he's curious. Um, and again, small confined spaces, they get odd ideas for things that might be interesting or strange to go check it out. Okay. And that's what my worry is, honestly. And I hate thinking about that because it's such a horrible thing to me. To be that close to your home. The Harley was literally 35 feet from his house for 4 weeks, and nobody knew where he was. And then all of a sudden, there he was. And it's horrific to know that all that time he was right there and couldn't yell, scream, breathe, nothing. And that's how his life ended. That's horrific to me. So it's something that is on my mind and has been with this entire case, because this case doesn't make sense, you guys. That's the problem. That the way things went down here, none of this makes any sense. And it made me wonder, is there something at that construction site that could be like that? Doodlebug sent me pictures of the storm drains in that area that are right there in the open. Sebastian's not a really big kid. He could fit in there. Why? I don't know, but he could. And I don't know if they've checked that or if they haven't checked that. That's what I'm saying. It's a small confined space. If he got scared for some reason, that's a good place to hide. Nobody's going to get you. Then you get in there, you get stuck. I'm petrified for this child because of that. And it would be horrific, guys. It really would be horrific. So he loves playgrounds. That's another thing Robert brought up. Yeah. But he doesn't like getting dirty. So, and he hasn't been on any medication for all this time either. So what are you saying, Mama Bear?
I said, that's my son. He loves playgrounds, but he doesn't like to get dirty.
Right. Caden.
Like the asphalt or whatever, that rubber tire type of.
Yeah. That's how Caden is. You'd think that there was literal shit on him if he touches dirt. He freaks out about it. He can't handle it. He'll shower 2, 3. And I've been that same way my whole life too. It's just one of them things. I don't know. But that's, I agree with you on that one, Spilled Paint, that they should be looking at every possibility. And I think this is why they keep referring to people and telling them to check their yards, any out barns or garages or sheds or anything on their property, to keep checking it every single day, because you never know. And it just freaks me out. I hope that they went through their own personal house with a fine-tooth comb, because the door was locked and he's just gone. And there's no shoes missing. Is he somewhere in that house, in the walls, maybe somehow, something? I'm praying to God that they did check every bit of that house. But I would imagine if that was the case, they would have heard something in some form. But, who knows? I don't know, guys. It's really weird how this happened, and there's no way to see or hear any answers as to where he is. That's what gets me with this. So,
thinking to himself, he's inside his own head working. What's consuming him? You could automatically assign guilt to that, but it doesn't necessarily mean guilt. Uncertainty, other things, we can't tell that. What we can see is a cluster of behavior around to ask about the child. What we would expect, and you both have just hammered this one, but what we would expect from a person who is trying to hide that they know the child is dead is not happy when they think about the weirdness of this kid who has all these, 14-year-old kids are mostly weird because they're trying to figure out what being an adult is while they're still a child. And this kid has got a lot of that, and they're amused by that. So he comes out of this absorption, this focus, this internal dialogue with a smile when they're talking about him being stubborn. Yeah, he's that. And you see all of that happiness. We know that a person who knows someone is passed, if you lose a child, you may never get back to the point you think positive things when that child is brought up, or when you think about the goofiness of things they did. but you certainly wouldn't be okay with it right now. Good indicator. So clusters can be good or bad. We can see the person consumed by something, and he doesn't come out of it into a negative, into a perception management, into one of those tools that we think people who have injured somebody or hurt somebody have.
No, Kara, I don't believe.
And he uses great illustrators when he's talking about, he loved music here, he loved music here, Pearl Jam to look at that all these things together. So all of these pieces, and then real smiles as they talk about bugs and his panic when he would see bugs, they're amused by that. All those things are a cluster that usually would indicate this person's not involved. So I'm going to call that one out loud and clear. And Mark, to your point, can I be wrong? Sure. I'm not 100% right. If you think you're 100% right as a body language reader, you have no clue what you're doing. Let's just call that out right here. That's all I got.
All right. Should I go?
Oh, I thought you'd go.
No.
In that case, Scott, do you think you're
it always seems like I go because I talk first. That's why I'm last again. So I've forgotten. It's okay now. I'll be okay. So just not to reiterate.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Annie. If you want to maybe elaborate just a little bit on that, and then I could probably give you a better answer at this point. I don't believe they have a cellar, Kara. I think it's all on a slab, the whole thing at one level. I do believe, or at least the ground level is slabbed. I think. Oh, what's up, AR?
Great, all the stuff you guys went over, not to make it boring. The one thing that I think when they were talking about music, and they started talking about, he started saying how he doesn't let him listen to hip hop, and she says, well, he doesn't like that anyway. I think he was just putting that in there so to show that he cares about what he listens to, because I think music is probably important to him. Yeah, because a lot of people think hip hop's not music. Well, it's not his kind of music, but it may be one of those things where he doesn't want that kid out repeating what he said, in something that's rap, but he may just talk it and get his hind end busted.
One of those tape replays.
Let's talk about Sebastian. Tell me about Sebastian. How would you describe him?
Sweet, stubborn. He loves to help. He loves running, and he loves to play his games and his fidgets and Uno. Lord, that's one of his favorite games right now. Favorite color is green.
Does he love music?
Oh God, he loves music.
An eclectic taste. Eclectic. I mean, from as everybody knows, Eye of the Tiger to Eddie Vedder.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So we got Pearl Jam on one hand, we've got Survivor on the other over here. We've got Taylor Swift, and
he's got a big crush on her. Country rock.
No
classic.
We don't allow the hip hop.
Well, he doesn't really get into it anyways.
Things.
You mentioned he loved running. So did he love the outdoors at all? I mean, would something outside that was somewhat outdoorsy be enticing to him or pull him outdoors?
He loves, like, when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money. It was a fundraiser. And every year I did this many laps. I did this many laps. I mean, I've got T-shirts where they would write on his back. Every time the kids went around, they'd mark a mark on the back and they'd keep running. And he just had marks all the way across his back. He likes playgrounds. He hates being dirty. He don't like being dirty.
Yeah, he's not your tomboy style child where he goes outside and plays in the mud.
He loves animals, but he's terrified of bugs.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, even a fly, and he's like, oh!
If Sebastian was able to watch this, and maybe he's watching this as it airs, and if he is, what do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
Oh gosh, that we love you so much, and we want you to come home, and you're not in trouble.
I guarantee you he is loved. And trust me, the open arms are waiting for him to come home. from every parent to every family members to probably everyone in the community. But there's no malice. We just want our boy home. Bad. Badly. But
That mama's heart, I know it's daddy's too, but I feel like there's always that extra special bond. Can you walk us through what you're thinking right now?
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's at.
Let's talk about the community, because I want you all to know, even my church body, I mean, we're all praying. We're all praying for his safe return quickly. What do you all want to say to the community?
Thank you.
With everything from the bottom of our hearts, I would not have imagined how far this has gotten, but there's no way to repay the gratitude, the love that we have felt from the community, the prayers. But thank you.
But
From the
don't
bottom of our
stop
hearts.
looking.
Yeah, please.
My son is somewhere.
This ain't
Bring
over
him
until he's home.
I'll go first on this one since I've been going last every time, just about. So, I think she gives a heartfelt answer. That's coming right from the heart. That's a mother who's grieving right there. And he doesn't know what to say, so he goes in this cornball thing about the family and open arms and all that. But the thing that bothers me is when he says there's no malice. That's lawyer talk. So, and then he tells, I'll skip that part. So that probably says he's probably spent some time in court. Obviously, he has. And then when he says that, for the reason he would be in court talking about malice, makes me think he might have a little bit of a temper on him. But it's neither here nor there at this point. But it sounds like he's trying to convince the mother that he feels for the child. And then we see that upheaval of emotion on her. And that's the thing I always talk about. What's missing from someone who is innocent? You see that. And I think that was when she closed her eyes and she's rocking back and forth and talking in a real quiet volume. And then it hits her again, that horror of what's going on. And she almost loses it there. She shakes out of it, and then she ends up putting her hand to her mouth. Now, if it had been fake, I think what would have happened was she would have done that and put her hand up to her mouth at the same time. But it was just, it was not even a thought, but it came up after that. I think we almost watched her lose it. I think we were really close on that. So I think that's real. But I don't think the dad knows what the word gratitude means, by the way he's using it.
Yeah, the biological father is a deputy sheriff in a different county, I believe. But he works with the sheriff's department, guys, full time.
So I think again that lets me know he's just talking and adding stuff in there just to have a lot to talk about during that. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I think this emotion is real. I'm going to probably be a little bit of outlier here. I think the emotion is real. I can't tell you why. I mean, we can assume we understand why. But if it were not real, listen to the interviewer. Now, the interviewer, interestingly, has been using the past tense to describe this kid all throughout the interview because, that's what she does for a living, and she's gotten to that point. When the mother comes apart is interesting because they ask the question, if he can hear you. Now, I'm going to assume that that's because she's taking the gravity of the moment.
Just so before anybody asks, the biological father was working night turn and said that he had just gotten off work, checked his messages, and that message came from Christopher. Get a hold of me, 911. Okay, so that was the morning. So that tells me he worked third shift, obviously. And he was working when this all went down. So that's what Doodlebug is saying.
But also assume if you had some part or feel like you had some part, even if it's just guilt because the kid is gone, you would have that same emotional outburst or emotional release. Because if you think you caused the person to disappear, if you think you did something that caused that kid to run away, and then something happened, you would feel a hell of a lot of guilt. So is it guilt? Is it feelings of sadness just from sadness? Can't tell that. What we can see is it's real emotion, heartfelt, feels it.
And see, that's something I got to tell you guys that I noticed. We've watched, and we'll be continuously watching the behavioral panels on any case that we look at as long as they're covering it, okay? Because I like the way these guys break this down. We watched the Madeline Soto, Jennifer Lisette, Stephen the Monster Stearns, their breakdown of their interviews, right? Completely different, folks. Completely different. Their breakdown on Jennifer, as well as their breakdown on Katie here. I mean, you could tell the difference. I see people saying that she's not crying. She's not. Her face is swollen, folks. Her eyes are red. He's not crying. I understand that, but some men don't do that. Some men handle things differently. I would be different. I'll be honest with you, but this is definitely different than like the Jen Soto interview. Okay, just take that into account if you think about the situation. And they were both mothers at the times of their interviews that had a missing child, not an unalived child, just missing at that point. Okay. And there's completely different emotions being shown at this point. I understand people are different, completely different, but still, please take that into account when you think about this and you see that. I think that, Katie Proudfoot, Sebastian's mother, is showing a hell of a lot more emotion as compared to what like somebody like Jennifer Soto did. She showed none. There was none. There was no tears at all. Not even like redness or even fake tears for that like Stephen Stearns. Okay. And that's the thing. So remember that too when we think about this. And I've watched many breakdowns that these guys have done, and they're really good in my opinion. So just saying, we got to keep all of this in the back of our minds. We're about done with this, and we're gonna move in and look at Riley again, guys. Thank you, Molly. I'm glad you're here today, hon. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well.
And you can tell it by the person coming there. There's also one on his side that makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Not the malice piece. Well, agreed, that probably is something he picked up from someone else. He says, we just want our boy here, but with a big old tongue jut. That's awkward. Now, that could be, Chase, you brought it up early, that he has a feeling of something. He's trying to project something else, but it's awkward. This is the single most awkward thing in the entire video to me. And it would not be if he just said, we want our boy home, but if he didn't do the tongue jut, I'd say, okay, just one weird pattern of words because he's had a couple. But it just makes me want to lean over and tap him and say, why do you say but? Why? Are you losing confidence in the search? I would make it about something else to get him to talk. But look, guys, this is an emotional time for these two people. It doesn't matter what's causing it. But this area, I would focus on those two just to pay attention and listen to their words moving past this. And we will, and see if something comes back up to give us some indicator. So far, I've heard things like, we heard things about friends, and we heard things around in trouble, around resistant and spat, and so fighting. So there's probably been some baggage associated with this that would cause her to feel something. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt there and say, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, you're right, Greg. The but is, whatever the weather, is certainly a loss of confidence. What that loss of confidence is about, given that there's a lot of a setup of needing hope, especially at this point, and it could be a loss of confidence around that. I don't know. Could be. It's a speculation that I'm having. Okay, so I would say you're absolutely right. The mother is close to not being able to contain her emotions anymore. It's affecting the interviewer now. We hear that interviewer's voice change when the interviewer talks about the community. We can hear that interviewer taking on the same rhythm and emotion as the mother. I would say the father has been in cognitive empathy throughout this, and he's now moving to emotional empathy. He's close to joining in with emotional empathy for the mother, close to having the same emotion. My assumption is he's been playing the role of strength and order during this, just as maybe Chase or Scott, I can't remember which of you said, if both people start taking the role of going down that well of emotion, like who's there to control that? You've got to have, if everybody goes down that route, it's complete chaos. Nothing wrong with going down that route, but in a partnership, you kind of need, one partner to hold on to the steering wheel while the other goes down that route, and vice versa. Who knows what happens with that stepfather outside of an interview, and what happens with the mother outside of that interviewer. The two roles could change instantly. Here's what I like about what I hear at the end of this. Don't stop looking, and the stepfather immediately comes in with please. Well, for somebody, if we're thinking here that this is somebody who's involved in a crime.
I agree, Virginia. That's why this one has my that's why I'm so confused with this one. It's hard to make sense of this. It really, really is, because of the way things happen in the situation and the things that aren't there for us to see. You know what I mean? So that's where the problem lies with this. No problem, Molly. No worries at all.
You'd never jump in immediately with please. You'd hold back with that. You'd wait and see. This ain't over till he's home, and that stress on home. So look, I think for me, from what I see there, from the evidence that I see in this particular video, there seems to be quite a conflict here between the hope of getting the kid home and a reality at 8 days in as to but what's the likelihood at this point? Statistics never look good at 8 days. Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, y'all have some really great points, really insightful points here on this. And I agree, this is what true grief looks like. When the reporter suggests Sebastian's watching, you can see it on her face when she's trying to come up with this. These expressions are almost impossible to fake. But if you're on the other side of the fence and you were thinking of maybe people are really good actors, hold on for a second. These actors that you're thinking of do several takes. They know the script. They prepare ahead of time for the script, and they prepare the emotions to display. And this reaction was instantaneous on her face in response to a question that she didn't know was coming. So when she says, "Oh God," there's the emotional pinnacle of truthful expression and genuine grief there. So just imagining him watching is causing this reaction, and the thought of being able to speak to him. I've watched 1,000 of these things, give or take, and I've never seen a reaction like this in a person who was guilty or involved. Never. And when she's saying, "I just want my baby to be okay," so often we hear people who are involved saying they want answers. Keep that in mind. They want answers to some of these questions. This woman doesn't care about how people see her. She's not managing her words and how she's being perceived. So when you're guilty and you know the disposition of a child, there's plenty of emotional and cognitive room to worry about how to come across. And when it's genuine grief, the desire to manage perception goes out the window. Keep that in mind. You can hear the emotional empathy, Scott, like you point, or whoever that was, in the reporter. And you don't hear this in other cases with the reporters, ever. Let's have another.
Boss me around when it comes to
Now, something that Molly pointed out to me the other day, I haven't been able to bring this up. Well, one, she showed me this, which is interesting. I'm sure they've checked this, but if you go up, I think this is the attic, guys. These are like crawl spaces in the attic here, if you can see that. Can you can't see it yet. Hold on a minute. Sorry. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'm sure that they've checked up inside the walls and looked through this house multiple times. In fact, I've seen somebody in chat, I think it was Victoria, say that they did go through the house like 3 different times. Again, But these are good points, Molly, to show us. And then something else she showed me, which was interesting because it's not something, maybe it's not dangerous, maybe it's not an issue, but it is something that was interesting to me. If I can find it here, about Sebastian. Okay. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with these things. Okay, but if you notice this, and Molly's got a keen eye for these things, and I'm want to thank you again, Molly. Very good stuff, as always. If I can get it to blow up, maybe. Come on here, there you go. 1 second. There it is. Okay. Okay. Now, this is a picture of him in a vehicle, riding in a vehicle. Somebody took a picture of him. Okay. He's wearing this across his chest. Now, my understanding is that this is a thoracic compressor. I've known about these, but I don't know about these, if that makes any sense, guys. I'm not like real keen on this. Okay. I don't know that this would have anything to do with what's going on, but it could be a possible medical issue. Okay. That I think should have been brought up in some senses, but it wasn't. I don't know why. Maybe it just was forgotten that because it's a regularity, they're used to it, so on and so forth. But this goes around your chest. Hold on, let me see if I can show you something a little better on it. Yeah, I'll show you what it means or what it's for. Okay. Adult children pectus, carinatum orthosis brace. Okay, thoracic compressor, whatever you want to call these things. And that's what it is this thing here. And it seems to be something that he wears regularly. I don't know if you guys have seen children that have their chest bone, like the sternum is projected outward more than normal, things like that. And it's to protect against like car accidents, and it can cause pretty serious damage and stuff like that, with that chest brace and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, Jen. That's the thing. I don't know if he has scoliosis or not. I think that his chest, I just said it, the sternum may be pushed outward, that his chest bone may be pushed outward. So again, that could be why he's wearing it in the car, because it could be dangerous, if there was an accident per se, things like that. Okay. And he doesn't have it on in his regular pictures either, but in the car he does. So I'm thinking that's why he wears it, for protective purposes and stuff like that. Now, again, I don't know that this is a medical problem per se. I'm just saying it was something that was brought to my attention I didn't know about. So thank you, Molly, for that. Very much. But what's up, Erica? Thank you for joining us. Just right now we're about to close down talking about Sebastian and move forward to the next scenario. All right, take care, Virginia. Be careful out there. Thank you for joining us today.
The videos. I'll get to the other.
Go to the next one.
We're going straight to 11, or are we doing
next?
Think we got.
What is a derp? It's a word that we use that we used to use, and when I'm derpy or being derpy, I'm a derp. She calls me a derp all the time, so it doesn't matter. I'm just a derp. So ask her. She has a better explanation on her side of things. Like a goofball, I'm guessing. So
yeah.
I am in Northeast Ohio, about 30 minutes south of Cleveland, Linda.
Go to 11.
11. Next video.
One of those tape replays.
If Sebastian was able to watch this, and maybe he's watching this as it airs, and if he is, what do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
Oh, gosh. That we love you so much, and we want you to come home and you're not in trouble.
Sandra.
I guarantee you he is loved. And trust me, the open arms are waiting for him to come home. From every parent to every family members to probably everyone in the community.
I know right where that's at, Linda.
There's no malice that we just want. But
on his part to I feel like this
Andy's gone. Internet said, nope, no derps here. I'm funny. Oh. There he is.
Sorry, folks. It's my stupid internet once again. Here we go. My apologies. Let's get through this. And you think you're funny, huh?
I know I'm funny. They go the derp. Nice try. See, Brian says I'm funny. Are you going to talk with it muted? Oh.
I was talking to the dog.
Oh. Brian, you remember when he tried to say the Wiggles?
What's that?
I asked Brian if he remembered when you tried to say the Wiggles.
I forgot about that myself. She doesn't have a giggle, Brian. She has a cackle. Come on, get it right.
I don't cackle. What are we waiting on here, Joe?
Both of their behaviors are consistent and continuous throughout this whole thing. And here's why this is so important. When you're innocent, behaving like you behave requires almost zero cognitive effort. No one's focusing on their behavior because they don't feel the need to. The camera being present might add a layer of stress here, but that's acceptable. And we can see the difference between that, I promise you. But being consistent through all of this, no matter how much training somebody's had, if you're guilty of something, I would say it's as close to impossible as it gets to fake at this level. And Mark, you're an actor. You've been to all these famous acting schools and stuff. Can you help us just to understand like how hard this would be to fake at this level?
Here's what makes it really hard is when you're acting, the audience have to get it. You're communicating, so it can't be muddy. It's got to be a clear communication, which means you can't have lots of things going on in your mind. You've got to have a clear through line. And that's what makes really good actors great communicators, but not necessarily supernatural. You know, I mean, you know, they don't come across as natural. You go, God, they're a great performer, but that's not what somebody would do in real life. What you're seeing here is real life. It's muddy, it's chaotic. It's some of it is very, very subtle. Some of it's very, very clear. So none of this is like an actor would actually do. I would say acting is an art form, a communication and expression, and what you're seeing there is real life. 24 times 30 times on 30 times a second right now. So hard to fake, and even good actors, they don't get awards because they were really natural. They get awards because they were very, very communicative. Hope that answers your question. Yeah. Chase.
Yeah, very cool.
Perfect. Look, here's what I've got on this one. She's got a clear strategy, which is urgent. Call his name. And the father jumps in with yes. Anybody I would suspect who is engaged in a crime in some way would try and put a barrier in the way of this. Like, here's why that won't work, or we've tried that. Or, they would put in barriers in the way because they don't want somebody who's involved in a crime, does not want the evidence to be found, and will consciously or unconsciously put barriers in the way there. And look how the mother then acts out the son. If there's any change in baseline, Chase, that's one of our biggest changes in baseline, as she kind of takes on that spirit of the son and performs how he would perform in that situation. If she knew that he's not alive.
That's awesome. Clue. I hope that went well. Hey, stop it. Stop it. Good Lord. Sorry, guys. I hope it worked out well for you. It'd be interesting to hear, I'm sure. I don't think that's what she meant, paint, at all. At all. It's a little crazy, but hey, I think she just kind of like meant interacted with, like shook hands, touched DNA type thing. Milo, good Lord, stop. Like your bark is anything. Anyway. Good
I had
stuff.
to take a double look at it myself. I'm like,
that's DNA. I mean, at first when you say I
who?
just swapped DNA with, yeah, I get it. I know what she meant. So good stuff, Clue. Good stuff.
Hi, Clue.
Yeah, it can be, Terry. It very well can be. But yeah, that's why I think he wears that in the car. Like I said, because if he has the distended sternum and stuff like that, it can be painful in a lot of ways. So that kind of helps protect it in some senses. It's okay, Clue. I get it. I think everybody gets it.
Yeah.
No problem though. Thank you, dear. Thanks for jumping in here. It's okay. That was funny though.
That was funny.
I think we're at the end of this though, folks. Let's
No,
get through here.
Demon Dog. She met with Sebastian's dad, bio dad. Seth.
Yeah, Seth is his biological father. Let me finish this up, Clue. If you'd be interested, you're welcome to jump up here and let us know how the interaction went. 100%. I'd love to hear from you. So let me end this up here real quick.
She wouldn't be doing that. You wouldn't perform in that way. That's her taking on that live son in her mind. Scott, what do you got on this one?
It's gonna be short and boring, so don't go over what you guys have gone over again. We're seeing everything we should see. So in other words, what you guys are saying is we're seeing everything we should see. It looks real to me. It looks like it should look to me. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, just a few things. A couple of that come out immediately is exactly what you said, Mark. Sometimes it's very muddy. It's not the clear thing that we expect. And add to that guilt. A child is missing, guarantee you there's guilt. And I don't mean that they're guilty of doing something. I mean, they feel.
That's fine. Drop the link. She's going to be having her live, probably going to go over that, obviously. So make sure that you go over there and check that out. Drop the link for her channel as well, guys, if we can, because it's always very informative. And she's boots on the ground with this case, guys. She has been from the beginning. She's been all over this. So please go over and make sure that you show the love, check it out, subscribe if you haven't. And like I said, she'll be up and live here going soon, I'm sure. So thanks for the info, Clue, and we'll all be over there to check you out. Thank you, dear.
Feel guilt. Imagine yourself, if your dog escapes and gets lost, you feel guilt. Imagine that compounding many times over by an only child and by a child who is reliant on you. So there's going to be some of that. There are two things I'd point out here. One is when she says, call his name, he will, you see something in his face of concern. And I think that concern is maybe often the mother is going to think the child is more communicative than he might think because he was an outsider coming into the child's life. He may be thinking, well, maybe, but you can see something fleet through his face very quickly. It doesn't look like grief or shame or any of that. It just looks like, I'm not sure about that. And then his nostrils flare. If you're about to cry and you're trying to contain emotion, often men will flare their nostrils, especially in the South where people are not maybe as emotionally broadcast as some other parts of the country where certain cultures may be more demonstrative. Old South is very contained, and you may be seeing that. I just see that I think he's close to emotional at the very last thing. So nothing new. That's all I got for this one.
One of those tape replays.
What do you want to say to our viewers? Anybody who's watching, we've got a lot of folks in this community and in other counties just throughout the state as well. What do you want to say to them?
Help spread the word and keep searching, and thank you. And just if you think you see him, call him in.
Thank all the viewers, everybody that's helped from across the board. I mean, everybody has been tremendous.
Call his name.
Yeah.
He'll answer, and if he doesn't answer, he'll look, even if he's not being verbal at the moment, because he can talk.
Okay.
But sometimes he don't talk. Call his name. Tell him to stay put.
He could be on the move, so keep checking our properties.
Yes. Like the search is never over until he comes home. That is for sure.
So smart.
But thank you for everything that everybody has done, has volunteered, the continuous efforts. I mean, it's like I said, I've never seen something to this magnitude before.
Our community is amazing.
We're all praying, hoping, and searching for Sebastian's safe return for that day. Thank you both for talking with me.
Just one more thing.
All right, let's throw it around the room and talk about what we think we've seen. Mark, how's it looking to you?
Look, I mean, so much of it looks absolutely fine. Not fine.
Now the rest of this is nothing, guys. And I want to get to some other Terry. Yeah, I believe so, Erica. I'm sorry. Yes. I want to get to this other stuff too, because we've been going here for a little bit. But there's nothing more that comes out of this. In essence, in my opinion, the panel believes that there's no nefarious situations going on with the parents or the mother and the stepfather. So that's kind of where I've been with this. I do have some questions. I'll be honest. Milo, good Lord. I have some questions that I don't have answered and that I don't think can be answered at this point, but I definitely had those questions. But I don't have any real deal bad feelings. I guess I can put it that way per se. There's some things that are a little off, but it could be situational. You know what I mean? That could be just all that it is. I don't know yet. I have to get some more info back on this first, and there really isn't anything coming back yet as far as that's concerned. So we have to see what happens with that. Sorry guys, I'm trying to multitask again. So hold on a minute. And I have a very strong feeling that Sebastian is still with us. That he's just somewhere else. I don't know why, and I have a gut feeling on some of these, and it's kind of rough. To avoid that. This one I don't have that gut feeling on. I don't know what it is or why, but there's something different with this one to me. And I hope that it's right. That's all I can say. Now moving forward, guys, I want to update on Riley Strain, which is the other case that we've been looking at as well. And I understand, guys, we don't have to agree. What's up, Twiz? Good to see you. Hashcats, welcome. Good to see you. It's been a while.
How many days has it been missing? He been missing now? 18, 19?
Sebastian or Riley?
I don't know. Let's see.
The one we were just talking about, the one we're
Spilled
getting
which
ready?
one? She didn't specify.
She's probably talking about Sebastian, I would imagine. 18, I think.
That's what I was thinking.
Are you leaving, buddy? Love you. So Sebastian, I think it's 18 days at this point. So
February 26th.
Yeah. And again, it's interesting. Those are one of the questions, like Christopher has stated in a statement that he made that I have screenshots of, that he really hadn't seen Sebastian since like early in February due to his job. But I think that was a regular thing in that family because of Christopher's job being where it is. He runs this crane and he travels wherever this crane goes, I think. And that's what I think it's about. You know what I mean? But I think it's typically out of Memphis. So I don't know, guys. I have a lot of questions about Sebastian's case. I have a lot of issues with the way things went down because there's no answers. No answers.
Yeah. And every other weekend he was with his bio dad. So.
And then when he would go to his biological father, Katie would go and spend that time with her husband in Memphis. So, which I can understand that. It would suck being alone in that big house by yourself. Right. I don't know how to take this yet. I have my questions, like I said, and I'm very, very curious. I'm very fearful of the situations with Sebastian. I would love for him to come walking in the door, and it would probably make my entire month. But I don't know. I just don't know. So, all right. Let's check out. This is from 22 hours ago. This case here, Riley Strain, is very strange. I have my thoughts on this one as well. Unfortunately, they're not. Go to your bed now. That's the last time I'm telling you.
Poor puppy.
Nobody's afraid of you. Poor
puppy.
Bark. He hears somebody else outside barking, and he wants to bark back. These little dogs think
that's what dogs do.
He thinks they're they think they're big dogs, and they're not. Poor puppy, nothing.
Hey, I'm not the only one.
Poor puppy, nothing. You guys want to hear him bark? Listen to it. I love animals too. Promise you, I have had enough of them over the past year. I can promise you, I had a whole cat farm going here for a while. Thank God that's over with. All right, let's check this out.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. We are getting new information about what happened in Luke Bryan's Broadway bar before 22-year-old Riley Strain was kicked out and then eventually disappeared.
The Strain family left Missouri and made Nashville their home base since the day Riley's fraternity brothers reported him missing last Saturday. Investigators are piecing surveillance video together, building a timeline.
And Strain's father spoke to News 2's Adam Mintzer today. He joins us live from downtown with more on the search. Adam.
Bob and Haley, the latest information in this case coming from Luke Bryan's bar. They released a statement earlier this afternoon with more details on where and what happened with Riley Strain last Friday night. They say that they served Riley Strain 1 alcoholic beverage and 2 waters at around 9:35. They say they escorted him out of the bar because
No way in hell. No way in hell. They said they served him 1 alcoholic beverage and 2 waters, and he was like that. Then
it was roofied.
That's what I'm saying. Unless he was drugged, or it's from him hitting his head. That's the only thing I can think of, because there's no way a man that is 6'7" couldn't stomach or hold his alcohol with 1 drink. Sorry, he had to have been drugged, roofied, something. And this takes me right back to this whole happy face situation, guys. It looks to me like the same situation. Oh my God, they need to find this guy. Gotta find him. I don't think so, Bariqua. I think, well, I mean, it may have started out that way that night, but he never made it that far. I don't think there's no way in hell that he had to have been drugged, or that impact of his head really messed him up. Yes, Brian. It's okay. I'm just saying, guys, hearing that, woof.
because of violations of their conduct policy, saying that one of his friends was going with him, but ultimately stayed at the bar. Luke Bryan saying that they are fully cooperating with Metro Nashville Police in this investigation, handing over surveillance video from that night, as well as providing transaction details and details about what happened from staff. Now, the family, though, wants to focus less on what happened at the bar and more about what happened after. Surveillance video showed Riley Strain starting to stumble as he exited the bar. We know that he got there after he was here in town for a fraternity formal, ended up going the wrong way when he told his friends he was going back to the hotel. Now, the family says they want to know what happened after at around 10 o'clock, and they're looking for more surveillance video and details.
Somebody had to have seen something. Somebody knows something. And we sound like a broken record, but we're begging someone to open their mouth. We've been doing okay. Of course, we're hitting the 1 week mark. Things are starting to feel more intense.
In a short time ago, a family friend told me that there is new surveillance video that police have their hands on, showing Riley Strain running at one point before he reached the point I am at now, which is the last location he was seen. Why he was running is just another question in this.
And if we look to the left of him, there's water, right or wrong. I'm telling you that this kid, unfortunately, probably ended up in that water. I feel so strong about that. I don't know why I keep going back to that, but that is what I keep going to, folks. I'm being honest with you.
Constantly developing story. Reporting live from downtown Nashville, Adam Mintzer, News 2.
Dude, you're muted. What are you saying?
I wanted you guys to read my lips. Well, first I read what Jen said, and I agree with that. And the only thing I can think of is that they had a bar tab together, maybe, and that's what that was about having to go back inside to pay for that. It was just one big thing, and they were all covering it. You know what I mean? That could be what it was. Sorry about the muted thing, guys. I always forget. That's the only thing I can think of. But here's the thing, too. So he's drinking water, 2 waters and 1 drink. That's how you keep yourself balanced in that sense. So there was either some kind of a substance that was added to one of his drinks, or that drink, or something he had before he got there, or his head hitting the host really did some kind of damage to him. Sadly. Hey, smartass, good to see you. And Megan Hewlick, welcome. No, she has not been arrested, from what I understand. So, hold on here, guys. Let me back this up here. All right. This was dropped yesterday, was kind of interesting to me as well. Some water, dear. There we go. Here we go.
Michael, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Can you tell me what you saw on Friday night?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I was working at the store I used to work at. While I'm watching the camera around my building, I seen him outside walking in Church Street down to Gay Street. He could barely move. He fell on the floor. He was so drunk. But I was busy at this time. I had some customer inside the store, but there is usually, we used to see this situation or kind of situation outside, specific in downtown area. And I can do nothing I could do nothing for him because he didn't ask. Most of people here are armed, like you know that, so I don't like to put myself in trouble. That's why I didn't ask him. That's all I've seen at this day.
I can imagine, you see a lot of people who've had a lot to drink in that bar, rich area, and you don't know if they might be violent. But I do have this question for you about Riley's mom. I understand she came to speak with you. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, ma'am. She was here on Sunday, as I remember. She couldn't even speak to me. She couldn't even talk. She was crying. I don't know what should I say, but I didn't understand what she was saying because of crying. She broke my heart, to be honest.
But you know for sure you saw Riley because, again, he is 6'7" and 160 pounds. It's not someone you'd miss.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
And you've had a chance to tell the police what you saw as well?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't expect something bad is gonna happen for him.
So have the police not come by to talk to you about what you witnessed?
No. No, ma'am.
Well, that's unbelievable. Okay, well, perhaps after this interview, they will come by and ask you some questions about the direction. Did you see him traveling in the directions that seem to be consistent with the video camera? Anything else that might have been unusual?
No, ma'am, that's all.
Well, Michael Halim, I'm very appreciative that you took the time to speak with us, and I'm sorry that you're struggling with this as well. It couldn't have been easy speaking with his mom. I do want to let our audience know that if anyone has information about Riley's disappearance, please contact the Metro Nashville Police Department at 615-862-8600. I always say take a screen grab of the television set. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation.
All right, so there was that interaction. That gentleman states that he saw him. And we've seen a lot of video of Riley, you guys, a lot more than we typically will see on a situation like that. And it it still is astonishing that it's not been seen anywhere. And I know they've drugged the river, they've been in the river. There's two options in my opinion with this, and I hate to say both of them, but he's either with somebody that's holding him against his will, or he's in that water, and he very well could be trapped down under within some, shrubbage or something like that. This is from 2 days ago. Law and Crime put this out, and it's pretty interesting to hear the side of this too. So,
in a situation where he's not allowed to get in contact with someone, or he's unfortunately no longer with us.
A college student missing after a night out in Nashville with his frat brothers. Now, newly released security camera video provides the latest clue in the disappearance of Riley Strain.
I really do think that had they had a buddy with them, maybe this could have been stopped.
This is 22-year-old Riley Strain. He's a senior at the University of Missouri, where he's studying business. He's set to graduate from Mizzou this spring. Ahead of that, Riley and some of his Delta Chi frat brothers headed to Nashville for an annual conference. Here's where things go wrong. It was about 9:30 p.m. on Friday, March 8th. Riley's friends reported to police he'd been kicked out of Luke's 32 Bridge Food and Drink. That's Luke Bryan's bar on Broadway in downtown Nashville. Bartenders later told investigators that Riley had been overserved. As he was kicked out, Riley got separated from his friends. He did speak on the phone with one friend, though, saying he was headed back to the hotel. He hasn't been heard from since. To understand the investigation so far, we sat down with former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder. How does a missing persons investigation begin? I know that the first hours are really crucial.
Well, so it sounds like with him, it was reported missing pretty quickly, within the span of just a few hours, when his friends couldn't get a hold of him. Typically, in the case of an adult, there is a lot of time, about 24 hours, that needs to pass before they will go ahead and label that person a missing persons. But because the situation was such where he was basically asked to leave the bar and then disappeared, they were actually able, in my opinion, to get a jump on the case pretty quickly. I think the first thing that they would have done, obviously after initiating the call to police, was look at cameras. I think cameras would be a huge help in a case like this, because it's immediate and you can go to those stores and go to those storefronts and ask them for their cameras. This is kind of a dense area, this Broadway area, and I am 100% sure that all of the stores have some kind of functional camera. So that would be the first place that I think they looked at. I also think too, it's going to take a while for them to get the actual meat of cell phone data, meaning, what was in text messages and those kinds of things. But they probably tried to locate his phone through some of the apps that he used, which would be something that they can do rather quickly.
According to reports, Riley's friends tried to track his location via Snapchat, but were unable to find him. Investigators say Riley's phone pinged for the last time at about 10:15 p.m. on the opposite side of Nashville from his hotel. Where does the investigation go from here now that we can't track him on his phone?
So I think the first thing that they're probably going to have to do, and it's my understanding too, that they've started with helicopters as well. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I had read. And so I think that is one thing that they're going to do, try to cover a larger amount of area. In my opinion, it sounds to me like there's a 25-minute, gap from when he was asked to leave the bar to when sort of that last ping was on his cell phone. In my opinion, I don't think he got very far as a result of that. I think he probably got lost. And so I think the next thing they're going to do is start searching the river, because the river is close by. And so I would imagine they're going to have radar and sonar in the river shortly.
So far, the Metro Nashville Police Department says both air and land searches have been unsuccessful in finding Riley. They also checked all hospitals and jails nearby and have come up empty-handed. Investigators are now combing through security camera video to make note of Riley's last movements before he vanished. The video released this week shows Riley walking alone down the street. Riley appears to be stumbling along as he walks. In this video, you see Riley run into the frame on the right side of the screen before he falls over. He ends up laying on the ground and even struggling to get up. It's about 20 seconds before Riley finally stands up and walks away. This video is the last time we see Riley with any other people. He's alone, but near a crowd of people crossing the street. As he gets to the other side of the road, you can see Riley trip as he stumbles onto the curb. For a second, he seems to follow along with the group before stopping, stumbling, and turning in a full circle before walking off. Walter says it's apparent by the video that Riley was heavily intoxicated.
See, that looks to be more like more than intoxication to me. The way that he's so disoriented. I mean, I've been really plastered drunk, but I can still kind of focus on walking in one direction. I'm not turning around. This guy, he looks like he's completely disoriented. I mean, yeah, I'm going with the drug situation here. This is very hard to see. I agree with you on that one, Sunshine. And again, if this is possibly from him falling and hitting his head, because I promise you guys that he went head first into that. He was moving pretty quick too. It could be from that, or it could be that he was drugged. Unfortunate on both sides. Or both. Yeah, it could be a combination of both and the little bit of alcohol he had. The way he was walking when he was coming down along that wall, he had his hand up here like he was. I wonder if he was bleeding. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. This is strange, but I have a bad feeling about the river, the water. I don't know. This is so strange to me.
In my opinion, it's incredibly sad. It sounds to me like he was probably asked to leave the bar because he was quite intoxicated and most likely creating, I guess, a scene, if you will, there.
According to local Tennessee outlets, 2 homeless people reported seeing Riley late Friday night, but these reports haven't been confirmed by police. The last place anyone for sure saw Riley in person was at Luke Bryan's bar. Since Riley's disappearance, Bryan has taken to Instagram, writing, quote, TC Restaurant Group operator and owner of Luke's 32 Bridge is continuing to work closely with the Metro Nashville Police Department to provide security camera footage and any other potential helpful information to aid in the search for Riley Strain. Our thoughts are with his family and loved ones for his safe return. Walter says it's unclear whether foul play is involved or if Riley simply made a wrong turn and got lost.
I'm obviously just hypothesizing at this point. I personally think because there is a body of water nearby and because this is a city that he's not necessarily from, he goes to Mizzou, right? This is a place they go once a year. It sounds like for basically a fraternity formal or something like that. So it's a place he's not familiar with that well. And so I personally think that he got lost or passed out and suffered, death from alcohol intoxication. That's just my guess. But again, I'm completely hypothesizing here.
Because Riley and his friends came from Missouri, Walter says Nashville officials will work with Mizzou as part of the investigation.
They're probably questioning all of his friends. I mean, they have to in a case like this because, as you mentioned before, they're trying to determine if this was foul play, an accident, something of that nature. So his friends will go back to college, but they will be questioned, obviously, with the help of counselors. It sounds like the university has issued a statement that they're being, incredibly cooperative. They want to find him too. So it's not that unusual. I was in a sorority in college and we actually had formals out of state. It was just something we did, whether it's safe or not. Obviously we can debate that, but this is just something it sounds like they did every year. This wasn't his first time going there. And so I would imagine they are working with the university, which in my opinion is a good thing in this case, because it isn't just, I guess, a kind of this unorganized trip. It's an organized trip. The fraternity is working with them and the university is working with them. And I actually think that's a good thing.
As far as the investigation into finding where Riley is now, I know that the Metro Nashville Police Department is seemingly leading the investigation. They're the one putting out videos, things like that. Is it possible that the FBI could get involved or any other organizations?
They could. The Nashville PD is a very large, very capable police department, has a lot of resources at their disposal. So they will always lead the case. My guess is maybe they will bring in the FBI just because it's multi-jurisdictional, right? You have students who are in Missouri, and then you have students who are obviously perhaps still in Nashville. I don't know. Also, I think in terms of processing phone data, because there is an urgency, they want to try to find him alive, maybe they will bring in the FBI to sort of expedite that, if you will. But other than that, I don't see the FBI taking point on this case, if that makes any sense.
While there's still a chance that Riley is found safe, Walder says that possibility is slim. And now we're pushing almost a week since he was last seen. Is it possible that he's still alive and is safe somewhere?
I always want to be delicate, to the families, because I don't know how I would feel, but it's been a week. This is a 22-year-old, obviously capable male who would find a way, in my opinion, to get in contact with his family or his friends. So I either think, one, he's under duress and in a situation where he's not
I'll have to
allowed
I'm going to go back
get
and
in
look for that
contact
here in
with
1
someone,
second,
or
LA.
he's unfortunately no longer with us.
According to Walder, things could have been handled differently after Riley got separated from his friends.
I don't mean to blame his friends. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I have a friend who, gosh, I had known since she was 5. And she was actually murdered. She was the victim of a serial killer when she was a freshman in college. And she was asked to leave a bar because she was too intoxicated. And her sorority sisters didn't accompany her home. And as a result, she was kidnapped and killed by a serial killer. And I think that you need to stay with a friend. A friend needs to go with you, especially when you are that intoxicated. And I'm not saying that he was murdered by someone else.
And that's what's part of being in a fraternity supposed to be about, you guys. That's another whole side to this that I have a problem with.
Could have fallen into the river and drowned in the state that he was in. But that is a very dangerous state. And so I think it's highly problematic that he was left to go on his own. It's a delicate situation. I don't want to blame his friends, but I guess that's my message for younger folks in these kinds of situations, to always have a buddy with you.
And for others going out with friends, Walder says there are ways to stay safe.
We talk about it a lot in regards to females, right? Like guard your drink.
See, if you look here, I noticed this in the other video. If you watch, this guy over here is watching him, probably because he's so intoxicated or whatever. I don't know if they spoke to him, but they're definitely watching him as he walks over this way. Like I said, it could be because they noticed the condition he's in, okay, or whatever it is. But you can see that there.
Drink, never leave without.
If you look right here, right as he comes out onto this road, you see the hand up here? It looks like he or this person is talking to him. Okay. I'd like to know who that person is and what that interaction may have been. This doesn't look like a homeless person, so I'm guessing this is just somebody else. So it looks as if somebody was maybe speaking with him with their hand up, like, hey, are you okay or something? What's going on? And they continue to look at him if you watch.
Friends, Walder says there are ways
He looks
to stay
over,
safe.
says something to somebody, and he goes back to looking at him.
Right?
He's
Like
watching.
guard your drink, never leave without, a friend. But I think the
He
same
watched him
applies
that
to
whole
males
time,
as
so
well,
it's weird,
especially when they're in intoxicated
I'd like to know what
states.
that interaction was. if that
Always
person comes
too,
forward.
right, is that sort of magic number. You don't have to have a group of 10
It
when
could
you
be,
leave,
Twizzle,
but
you're
one
probably right.
person needs to be designated to go home. Never let someone go home by themselves, particularly
It
if
looks
they
like
are
he was
in
trying to
an
talk to some
intoxicated
people
state.
himself,
And
too.
I always think that keeping, I call it custody of your drink, and not allowing anyone else, to have access to your drink is always key. But I know I'm oversimplifying it, but, in the case of a friend from a long time ago, Rachel, and I think in this case as well, I really do think that had they, I don't mean to blame his, especially when his own, it's a delicate situation. I don't want to blame his.
Walder says there are ways to stay safe.
We talk about it a lot in regards to fees. We talk about it a lot in regards to females, right? Like guard your drink, never leave without.
You guys didn't hear any of that because I keep muting my damn self. Hold on. Jesus. Okay, so right here, where'd it go? Right there. Looks like he's looking down at his phone.
Friends, Walder says there are ways to stay safe.
We talk
And
about
then he
it a lot.
holds it up almost like he's selfie picture taking. Or
Right.
whatever you call that, okay. Or he's trying to read it, maybe holding it away from his face.
in regards to females, right? Like guard your drink.
And he's still going. So I don't know. Again, that would be nice to know what that was all about.
Never leave without, a friend. But I think the same applies to have a group of 10 when you leave, but one person needs to be designated to go home. Never
He's like,
let
hey girl, where you going?
themselves, particularly
Kind
if
of what
they
it
are
looks
in
like. Yeah.
an intoxicated state. And I always think that keeping
That's what I was
call it
thinking, Jennifer. Like
custody
maybe
of
you're
your
trying to
drink
FaceTime or
and not allowing
or something.
anyone else, to have access to your drink is always key. But I know I'm oversimplifying it, but in the case of a friend from a long time ago, Rachel, and I think in this case as well,
After
I
a while,
really do
Brian,
think
you
that had they
you start
had
looking
a
for
buddy
anything you
with
can with
them,
these cases. But
maybe this could have been stopped.
Anyone
Um,
with more
that's what
information
we
about
do.
Riley Strain's disappearance?
So I haven't seen anything new. That's the newest stuff I've found. I really, really hope. It's hard to think that this kid could be. Good Lord, slow down, chat. Still with us at this point because nobody has seen or heard anything. But this area, like I said, has a lot of back alleys, empty buildings, different scenarios. I just I feel bad. I feel really bad. Let me try to see if LA's video is in here real quick. Give me 1 second, guys, and then I'm gonna have to. After that, I think we're gonna have to call it a day, and then hopefully, I want everybody, if you can, if when she's live, to head over to Clues and check out what her live is about. Based on the fact that she had interaction with Seth. Good Lord, sorry, folks. Hold on here. Is this the what? Is that the video? Hold on a minute here. Let me see.
She said she sent it again.
I'm sorry?
LA sent it again.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, LA. I'll go back into that one then. Link to where you watched it. Okay, I got you. Boom. Give me a second here to pull it up. It's LA. I see you. And boom. This is for Brittany's channel. Okay. This is Brittany J. Is this the same video that I had pulled up before? I don't think. Maybe not. Okay, it's kind of hard to see. I don't think I did see this whole part of this here. I think this was put out on TikTok, maybe.
Leslie, I believe they went home. I don't know though.
Yeah, they went home after so many days, I think. All right, you got to pay attention close over this way, guys. It's hard to see it. It's a little bit blurry. It's not real big, so let's see here. It zooms in. Okay. I still want to know what he was running from. Why was he running? Okay.
Holy shit.
Is that when he started running? Oh yeah.
Okay, you see that there? Oh, that's interesting. I never saw that. Watch this, guys.
Yeah, he fell on his head pretty good. It was hard to watch.
Look at this. Oh my God.
So, okay. Can I see if I'm getting this right, Britt? So before he ran and fell, someone tried grabbing him and he kicked at them and then ran, fell, hit his head, right? Is that what I'm getting? Oh, so he was maybe
did you just, he actually kicked the guy.
targeted.
Right there, you see it. It looks like somebody was grabbing at him and he kicked back at the guy and took off running there. Shit. Okay. What was that all about then? How come we haven't heard about that? Interesting. Interesting. Okay, well,
So the guy had him. Oh my God, y'all, it's easier for me to see because I got it on full screen. But yes, he absolutely kicked the guy. The guy's got him by his arm.
Holy
All right, right
shit.
here. Hold on. Let me see.
So then he
Holy moly.
smacks it, huh?
You know, he kicks the guy
Holy
and he kicks himself free. Hold on. Right here. Oh my God, it's so blurry, but you can definitely see it. Right here. I got this. Can y'all see that still shot?
yeah, he's got his arm or
Oh my
something.
God.
right here.
car?
I'm going to try to point
See
it
that
out
car?
as best I can.
That's
Here's
him.
Riley.
The other
You
person.
see his arm. This is his arm right here.
Right.
Here's the guy. The guy's got Riley by the arm. Okay. He's got a hold of him. Riley's standing here. The guy's right here. And you can see his arm. The guy's got Riley by the arm. Watch Riley break free. Watch. See him struggling? Boom. Kick the guy.
Look,
Broke free.
The guy tries to chase him too. You
there's
can,
another guy standing there too, behind that red sign. You see him?
Yeah. The guy, there's a big guy. It's a
So this might
overweight
be like
guy.
a ring. Oh, there's a couple guys. Yeah, they're together. There's a couple guys that did that.
Holy shit. And then Riley falls.
Wow.
Oh my
Never
Because
God.
he's
saw that
running.
before.
Guys got him. Riley kicks the guy
And then
off
they
of
went a different way. Like they probably. Oh my gosh, Britt! I never
Okay.
noticed this.
Oh,
So I have to wonder if they followed, from a distance, and then we see somebody on a bike that kind of seems to be following him at some point too. So it makes you wonder, did one of these people jump on a bike? Why were they grabbing him? Were they trying to help him, or were they trying to mug him possibly? Okay. So it could have been and somebody snatching him too. Okay. I never saw that. That's interesting. It's a good catch, and thank you for that, LA.
my God. So this might be why the cops are
All
saying
I've
they
ever
don't
seen
do-
was him falling, running, and I'm sorry, I'm in shock. I've only seen him running and falling. I never seen that altercation or heard about it. maybe I'm late to the game on that one. Is this just new?
It's in the group.
I
I
saw
don't
it
know.
yesterday.
I cannot get over this. This is bizarre. Oh my.
That's definitely interesting. Definitely. And I was just getting ready to do that. That footage again came from Brittany J. I want to thank her for putting that out very much. And if you guys could check out her channel as well, she's obviously working the clock, trying to get this stuff handled just like we are, guys, trying to make something good happen here and find these people. So good stuff, Brittany. That's awesome and very much appreciated. So guys, if you will, please go check out that channel as well. One of the mods could drop that link, please, just to show the support for her supporting and doing all this. Please, it's very much appreciated. So that was something I had no clue of, and we were saying a couple of days ago, why was he running? He's running for something, from something. There it is. And
I wonder if that was when they threw him out of the bar.
well, I think the bar was up the road a little bit, just a little bit
Oh,
more.
was it?
Yeah. So I think he was asked to leave. I don't think he was physically thrown out of the bar. I think they just told him to leave, and he did. But here's my thing now at this point. They're stating now that he was only served 1 drink and 2 waters. Okay. That situation there is not from that. So that's either from him hitting his head or he was drugged, period. Or he was intoxicated when he came in there, which is why he only was served 1 drink. So I don't know for a fact, you guys. That's what I'm saying. Bad situation either way. Yeah, allegedly with Brittany J. One of you guys, if there's any mods left in here, if you could drop that link. I can't do it. I don't know if there's any other mods in here still. I can't tell. But there it is, guys. That's some great coverage there. Great footage, I should say. Thank you again, Brittany. The channel is called Allegedly with Brittany J. for anybody that didn't see that. Thank you, SRB. But yeah, that's the first time I've seen that. It's a little bit hard to see, but she pulled it out. That's pretty good. And Nashville can be a dangerous place, guys. In the nightlife, okay, especially under the influence of anything. And if you're not familiar with the area, well, damn, okay, it can be bad. I hope they find him. I hope that he's okay. I have a bad gut feeling about this, and I really do feel that he's in that water. There it is. Thank you, Eagle. I appreciate you very much. There's a link, guys. Please check her out. I've seen some of her other stuff. She does good stuff, and she's just like we are. She's putting out the good word, trying to make something happen. So thank you again, Brittany. I appreciate you. And to LA, thank you for sending me that. I really appreciate that a lot. I'd have never seen that. Yeah, that's it too, guys. It's just like going to a resort in another country. You don't want to leave that resort when you're there because they don't like us. They want to hurt us. They want to take from us. And if you're a stranger in a bad area, you're going to have issues, period. So, again, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. I didn't realize we had been going so long. So I think that's going to end it for right now. Mama Bear, thanks for joining me. I appreciate that. I didn't expect
You're
it.
welcome.
Thank you. I hope you're having a good weekend.
So far, so good.
Good. That goes for all you guys. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Where is Doodle, by the way? There she is, right there. But you guys might see me tomorrow since I missed all of yesterday because of my stupid internet and the damn storm. Hey, JC Ann, good to see you. Headed for the Crime Con, huh? Good stuff. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time and be safe there. Appreciate every one of you guys for jumping in here so much. You have no idea. I appreciate all of the input and understanding per se, and the way treating each other with respect is the most important thing for me. I appreciate that from all of you. Well, of course, Annie, of course. So again, guys, if you will, if you can, you have the time, please go check out Cluminati's video. She said she interacted with Mr. Seth Rogers, which is Sebastian's biological father. That should be interesting to hear about. Check it out if you can. Yes, be careful, JC. Be very careful. Every one of you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Don't forget to love yourselves, love each other, and don't change anything about yourselves because you are the beautiful people. Have a great night, folks. Much love to you all, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. If not, I'm not sure. So I'll see you as soon as I can. Love y'all. Good night.
Bye, Mama Bear.
Bye, Grandpoopa.
Mm-hmm. Butthead.